She was the empire's only empress. Yet the king did not love her. Even at the moment when the empress drank the poisoned wine and died in his place, she received not a trace of his compassion. Even at the empress's memorial service, he delivered passionate speeches, shedding those hypocritical tears. He had originally thought that life would become peaceful after the empress was gone. But when he saw the unprocessed letters on the desk, he could not help but think of the empress. At least on the surface, they had seemed like a perfect match. After the empress's death, the emperor's headaches persisted. To find the cause, the emperor summoned priests and sages, but they were all spouting nonsense to satisfy their inner greed. Until he saw the diary that the empress had left behind, tears began to well up in his eyes. The empress had indeed been a perfect empress, constantly examining herself, strengthening her resolve, like an exquisite doll. The palace was filled with traces of the empress everywhere, but she had never shown her true self. What expression did she wear when she smiled? What sound did she make when she cried? The emperor knew nothing about these things. Only now did the emperor realize how foolish he had been in the past. Thinking of this, he put on his cloak and went to see the witch in the clock tower, directly requesting to reverse time. The witch smiled slightly. "You came so late just for this matter?" The king had already made up his mind. "Even for the empress's sake, please give me one chance. As long as she can be happy, I am willing to do anything." Accompanied by the emperor's pleading, the magic orb in the witch's hand continuously released magic. And when he woke up again, he was already in bed, and everything before his eyes was incredibly familiar. Then he carefully touched himself and discovered he had truly traveled back to the past. But he still found it somewhat hard to believe. Just then, a servant rushed in, ready to help him wash. This was exactly the same as his childhood memories. He let out a long sigh. "If this is not a dream, I must first break the engagement that was arranged before I was even born. If she meets a man who is truly compatible with her, then at least she won't die because of me." At this moment, the servant brought out a formal outfit. But Leon felt he had seen this outfit somewhere before. It turned out that today was the day he would meet his fiancée, the future crown princess. Sitting in the carriage, Leon looked anxious. "Why does it have to be today? I haven't prepared myself mentally, yet I've returned to the very day I first met the empress." Leon's current mood was not anticipation, but excitement. He silently repeated to himself, "This time I absolutely cannot say her hair looks like spider silk again." After reaching the destination, Leon strode forward and said, "Your beautiful silver hair and blue eyes are exactly the same as before." But after hearing this, Liz actually showed a frightened expression. The Duke said, "My daughter is meeting your highness for the first time. She's probably too nervous." Seeing his flustered appearance, Leon had not expected the Duke to be this type of person. On the other side, Liz's mother took Liz into the room under the pretense of arranging her clothes. However, as soon as they entered, Liz was pushed to the ground by her mother. "Didn't I warn you? You must make Prince Leon fall for you." As she spoke, she raised a wooden stick and struck Liz with it. But just as she was getting carried away with her punishment, Leon suddenly knocked on the door from outside, frightening Liz's mother so much that her hand stopped midair, and she said, Liz suddenly felt unwell and just fell asleep on the bed. But then she ordered Liz to quickly crawl onto the bed. After a while, Leon pushed open the door and looked around. This room is like a hospital ward, and there's such a heavy smell of blood. And Liz is actually lying on the bed with her shoes on. She's lying down without even taking off her shoes. Do you really not need to call a doctor? Also, please get her some comfortable shoes. But the Duke and Duchess cooperated with each other and get Leon to come back another day. But Leon said with a haughty expression, "I want to see the young lady's sleeping face." Leon walked to the bedside with a face full of regret. "On that first day we met, I knew nothing of your pain, yet I spoke harshly to you, when just a simple word from me could have freed you from those high heels. Only now do I understand your feelings then. I was truly useless." Leon brushed back Liz's hair, not expecting that she was crying at that moment. Liz suddenly sat up. "Why do your highness's eyes look so sad?" she said, trembling all over. "Please do not be sad." This completely baffled Leon. "What does this mean?" "It's not what you think. I'm worried about you right now." But after hearing this, she quickly retorted, "I'm not sick." Leon had not expected that she was still ill, yet spoke these words like a conditioned reflex. "It seems I need to send her some comfortable shoes first. By the way, what color do you like?" she said weakly. "I like the same color as Prince Leon's pupils." But immediately her mother slapped the table, and Liz quickly changed her words. "My favorite is white." Leon immediately understood the situation. So this is how they're giving signals. "Since that's the case, I'll just have to block their line of sight." Leon asked again, "Do you really like white the most?" Liz's eyes filled with tears. "Have you ever seen the color of the sky through the gaps in summer leaves? That blue-green color? I love that color the most. But father and mother always say I like white the most." Leon suddenly stood up. "Not anymore from now on." The young lady says her favorite color is the azure blue, similar to her pupils, but there are too few azure blue things in this room. When the young lady recovers, I'll come to see her again. Leon gently took her hand and said, "I hope when we meet next time, you'll be healthy and well." This was the first time Liz had seen her fiancé. His hand was large and warm, as if wanting to firmly grasp something fragile. When Leon came out, the servant asked, "How did Prince Leon feel coming out?" But Leon said, "Buy some leather shoes on the way back." The urgent matter is to quickly get Liz out of the Duke's manor. If I cannot change her fate of becoming the crown princess, then I'll change myself. As long as heaven grants my wish, I swear I'm willing to give anything in my life. After returning to the palace, Leon wrote down some major events that would happen in the future on paper to plan his life and change the future. Then he hid the paper under the bookshelf. Just as he finished hiding the paper, there was a knock at the door. It turned out that the invitation from the Elysian Manor had arrived. After reading the invitation, Leon said there was no need to reply. I'll go directly to the Duke's Manor tomorrow. Remember to bring my gift. The next day, in the dim carriage, Leon suddenly woke up. How did we get here so quickly? I stayed up all night, never imagining there would be a day when I'd be so eager to see Liz. The butler bowed and said, Your Highness, you've arrived, I'll show you the way. Leon walked briskly carrying his gift, thinking that today he would focus on spending time with Liz. And Liz's life had undergone dreamlike changes since Leon's last visit. In the originally all-white room, blue items appeared one by one. This amazed Leon greatly. Even the shoe cabinet gradually filled with low-heeled shoes. But what was most surprising was what happened this morning. The maid wanted to tighten Liz's corset as usual, but her mother stopped her, and even said to let her work hard to become a lady worthy of Prince Leon. It seems His Highness the Prince is in a good mood today. He slowly walked forward. This is for you. When he took it out, it was actually a pair of shoes. And they were shoes without any heel at all. Leon knelt down to put them on Liz. Despite her repeated refusals, Leon still helped her put them on. Liz's face involuntarily turned red, and when she stood up, her toes no longer hurt, and the carpet felt so soft. I heard you'll have afternoon tea with me in the garden. Then please, young lady. The two came to the garden, and logically they should have played freely. But Liz looked worried. She seemed not to know what she wanted to express or how to express it. Leon thought for a moment and said, Very boring, isn't it? His words scared Liz so much that she suddenly stood up. It's not like that. Although she really wanted to run out and walk around more to avoid being rude in front of His Highness, she still said it was interesting. What do you usually play? Liz said. I usually learn embroidery, read poetry, and appreciate paintings. But those are all studying, not playing. Is there anything you do that makes you feel happy? But she couldn't think of anything after thinking for a long time. But Leon thought of something that could immediately experience the joy of playing right here. He asked, Have you ever tried sitting in a flower bed? Liz shook her head in panic. Then let me, the Crown Prince, do this strange thing first. Leon collapsed into the flower bed and quickly called Liz over. This made her panic. His Highness called me, so naturally I must go over, but is this really okay? If I make such an inelegant gesture, Mother will definitely scold me if she finds out. However, the soil under my feet is very soft. And what she hadn't expected was that compared to walking, running was actually so joyful. Her little face was slightly flushed, panting heavily. Is it really okay for His Highness the Crown Prince to do this? Of course it's fine. After all, I did it first. But what was unexpected was that after Liz's face gained some color, she became even more adorable, making Leon blush. Leon reached out his hand and actually gave Liz a ring woven from grass. He personally put this grass-woven ring on her finger and said, So, Liz, will you become my partner? If you agree, I promise you, I will love you for life and make you happy forever. But after hearing this, Liz's tears couldn't stop flowing. I seem to have some serious illness. My hands keep shaking. My heart keeps beating. It feels itchy but also like being pricked by needles. What should I do? When Liz was still at a loss, Leon suddenly hugged her and said, I don't know how to comfort you, but I think you have the same illness as me. So it's okay. Everything will pass. When Liz woke up again, she found herself already in bed, and her mother was sitting upright by her bedside. It seems she fainted again, failing to act like a lady. What should I do? Her mother trembling all over. What exactly are you lacking? Look at this room. The carpet is made from the unique white bear fur of the northern country. The wallpaper is all made from silk woven with spider silk. The table and bookshelf are made from the only white wood in the forest. Do you think that's all? How many people does it take to serve your food and clothing? We've given you such a wealthy life. What exactly are you lacking? Hearing this, Liz said helplessly, I'm sorry, next time I'll... But before she could finish, her mother grabbed her. You still want there to be a next time? Liz, listen carefully. You're going to be the Empress, but you still don't know how strict the royal etiquette is. After hearing this, Liz nodded sadly and quietly replied that she understood. After her mother left, Liz sat alone on the bed. Fortunately, the ring Leon gave me is still here. Even if Mother doesn't believe it, it doesn't matter. As long as I can marry into the palace, I can see Leon. When I grow up, I can become the crown princess and be with Leon forever, right? Maybe I won't have to be beaten with birch rods anymore. Although Leon said that being a crown prince is very busy, and he might not be able to stay with me all the time, I just need to be in the same place as him. Although I don't understand what Leon means by love. But as long as I stay by Leon's side, that so-called love can continue forever. For this I must become what Mother said, a perfect empress who won't bring shame. In the palace, Leon realized it had been a week since he last saw Liz. He is sitting on the bed with a confused look on his face. I woke up too early today. Speaking of which, why was I so cold to the Empress back then? The Empress and I didn't have many interactions. Leon silently calculates the number of times he had met the Empress. The last time they met was at his coronation ceremony. Why was I so heartless to her? No matter how bitter or tired she was, she would squeeze out a fake smile, which was chilling to see. The more refined she became, the more I felt she was like a doll, and I felt repelled. I thought she was a doll wearing human skin. so I was disgusted by her, and after she became empress, I completely ignored her. Thinking about it now, I was truly pathetic back then. As he is speaking, Leon grabs his pillow and pounds it against his head. He secretly swears, "In this life, I will definitely fulfill all of Liz's wishes. But now I can only use the most effective method a 10-year-old child can use." The next moment, the corridor is filled with the sound of his running and jumping, scaring the butler into a cold sweat. But the king has an indifferent attitude, wanting the servants to dismiss him. But at this moment, Leon is already standing outside the king's bedroom. He shouts, "Father, open the door! Stop bullying mother!" As the door opens, the king also come out. "What do you want to do in the middle of the night? I command you in the name of the emperor, disappear from my sight immediately and go mind your own business." But the empress follows closely behind and says, "Leon, come here quickly." "So what matter has brought our highness to see his majesty?" Leon builds up his emotions. "Mother, please save my wife." "Child, what are you talking about? Explain it to me slowly." So he tells his mother about all of Liz's experiences. Even the emperor stand there stunned. Such things actually happened in the Duke's manor? Someone prepare the carriage immediately. So they come to the Duke's manor early in the morning, but the empress has a bit of a headache. Duke collision. "Could you go change your pants before coming back?" The Duke looks flustered. "Why are you coming to my manor so early in the morning? Coming to the door without prior notice, it's simply rude." Being forced to flatter due to imperial power is already annoying enough, and my only heir faints when she can't even entertain guests properly. The Duke returns to his room and also helps the Duchess tighten her corset. The Duchess finally come out. "I'm ashamed to have kept the distinguished guests waiting." The Empress smiles slightly. "No need to mind. I just come to thank you, madam, for educating the royal daughter-in-law so excellently. You're too kind." Liz still has many shortcomings. But the Empress suddenly says with a serious expression, "To put it nicely, it's education, but your method of discipline is worse than that used on circus animals." I still remember when His Highness the Crown Prince was Liz's age. If he wanted something, he would lie down in the palace corridors. Or he would make a fuss all day long. Looking back now, I found it quite cute and interesting. But looking at Liz's condition, you probably didn't get to enjoy such interesting days for long, did you? As her future mother-in-law, I think she's very well behaved, and I'm very satisfied. So I want to take Liz back to the palace to raise her personally. On the other side of the Duke's manor, the king also tells the Duke about this matter. He says, "After all, she'll have to enter the palace when she becomes crown princess anyway, won't she?" But he is thinking, that boy Leon knelt down and begged last night. I was originally skeptical, but from the Duke's reaction, I can see this matter is not simple. The Duke looks flustered and says, "But this kind of thing can't be decided by your majesty alone." He is calculating in his mind. His majesty seems to be asking for my opinion, but this attitude can hardly be called asking. But this might be an opportunity. If Liz enters the palace early, wouldn't I have a legitimate reason to frequent the palace? But the king has already seen through his little scheme? The Duke raises his hand. But Liz is the only daughter in the family. We still need to ask the child's mother for her opinion. As soon as he finished speaking, the Empress and the Duchess come out. And the Duchess looks grave. Her Majesty the Empress said she wants to take Liz back to the palace to raise her. The Duke immediately panics. How could the Emperor and Empress, who usually don't care about such matters, suddenly take action? The Emperor and Empress tacitly cooperate with each other. I heard from Leon that Liz is very serious during Empress etiquette classes. Since that is the case, I think it's better to study etiquette directly in the palace. What do you think, madam? But suddenly there was a thud, and the Duchess actually knelt on the ground. That absolutely cannot be done. Are you trying to forcibly take such a young child away from her parents? My daughter is still just a child, but actually she is afraid that they would see the injuries on Liz's body. She looks at the Duke and gives him a meaningful look. The Duke also joined in the pleading, but suddenly there was a loud knocking sound. Leon strode in. Why not just ask Liz directly about this? How can adults not know such a simple thing? Crown Prince, in front of His Majesty, please watch your words and actions. Leon suddenly crouched down and said to Liz, who had entered with him, "Are you willing to live with me?" Because he knew that forcing Liz into the palace would have a great impact on her. So just now outside the door, he had already asked clearly, "If you don't want to, we won't go. Follow your heart after all. It's your life. If you want to break off the engagement, I can agree to that too." But Liz's reaction was so strong after hearing this, that she immediately threw herself into Leon's arms. "I want to be with you." But now when the Duke asked about Liz's wishes, she couldn't speak. Facing such a situation, she became very helpless. Then she suddenly burst into tears and frantically apologized to Leon. At this moment, sad and helpless Liz made even Her Majesty the Empress's heart ache. As her voice grew weaker, unexpectedly she collapsed into Leon's arms. Leon held Liz and said, "Father, Mother, Duke Elysian, I visited without prior contact early in the morning, and I also made things difficult for Liz because of my sudden stubbornness. I apologize for these rash and rude actions, but the Duchess said it was all the young lady's fault." Leon suddenly shouted, "Liz has done nothing wrong. Crown Prince, I told you to watch your words and actions in front of His Majesty. Please take the Duke's daughter upstairs first." Before leaving, Leon bowed deeply again. "Please direct any criticism at me." Leon looked at Liz. "Even such soft carpet must feel like walking on knife points to you." And before I stopped it, this all-white room was erasing your nature. and you lived like a shadow behind me every moment, constantly reading expressions, living without any sense of self. My empress, you have suffered. Leon took her hand and said, please give me one more chance. I will definitely not do foolish things anymore, but will make you happy. And return to you exactly the time that was taken away because of me. Even if it costs me my life, I will accept it. Just after Leon left, Her Majesty the Empress's anger shot straight to her eyebrows. I don't know if you two are qualified to be parents. Liz must come back to the palace with me. Then the Empress had the maids collect some of the young lady's favorite things, and in the huge room, there were only these few items. This shows how painful Liz's usual life must have been. But fortunately, 4 people returned together. The 2 little ones were sleeping sweetly leaning against each other. Unexpectedly, Leon suddenly opened his eyes and said seriously to the king, Father, you must be good to Mother. And the king said carelessly, you should take care of your own woman first. Leon said, I originally wanted to cancel the engagement, but I was afraid these idiots would torture Liz. So I endured until now. If this continues, I'll have to elope with Liz in the night. The car was quiet for a moment, then Leon called out again, Father, do you think Mother is truly happy? After hearing this, the king actually paused. We are happy, but we are also cursed. The royal family has always been like this. Being above everything is not necessarily a good thing. I hope after you and your daughter-in-law marry and inherit the throne, the situation will improve. It's really rare that you actually think about me like a father would. Hearing this, the king coughed twice. I think Leon wants to walk back to the palace by himself. Leon didn't say anything, but thought to himself. But at least I won't choose suicide like father did, especially this time. At this moment, Liz slightly opened her eyes, looking ahead with a dazed expression. Unexpectedly, the emperor and empress were sitting across from her. Why am I here? What happened? The empress called to her, Liz, have you ever been outside the duke's manor? But when she thought about it, she had only seen her father ride in carriages. The empress had originally just wanted to care about whether she got carsick. But she actually had such a strong reaction. After returning to the palace, the empress took Liz to tour many rooms, but none satisfied the empress. So she crouched down and said to Liz, how about we build you a new palace? There are also maids organizing the room. You go change clothes first. But the sudden changes made it hard for Liz to adapt. She quietly lowered her head. Have I always looked so terrible in front of Her Majesty the Empress? So she frantically said to the Empress, I'm not wearing a corset right now. Can I put on clothes? Unexpectedly, the Empress held her tightly in her arms. You've worked so hard all this time. Thank you for holding on until now. You're amazing. This embrace gave Liz a strange feeling. It clearly wasn't anything sad, yet she wanted to cry. The maids had already prepared the dress. Everyone was talking. I heard this is the future Empress. Look at this figure, this skin tone. Isn't she the absolutely perfect future Empress? Their words made Liz blush with embarrassment. But when the maids excitedly wanted to help Liz change clothes, they were frightened by the scars on her back. What is this? Quick, call the doctor. Meanwhile, Leon was pacing back and forth outside. Why does changing clothes take so long? Leon was about to knock on the door to check the situation, but ended up having an intimate encounter with the door, and also heard the maids calling for a doctor. Leon looked at them with a confused expression. Why call a doctor to change clothes? The doctor rushed over in a hurry. Liz was instantly surrounded by the crowd. Leon, with his red nose, was still concerned about Liz. Did something happen to Liz? It turns out the young lady has very serious injuries on her legs. Hearing this, Leon turned around and squeezed into the crowd, and was shocked by the scene before him. The Empress, who learned of the situation, also hurried over. After hearing the doctor say that all the scars would disappear completely before spring arrived next year, the Empress's worried heart was finally at ease. She assured Liz that as long as she was alive, she would never let those people hurt her again. Meanwhile, the maid discovered that His Highness the Crown Prince was still in the room. Leon said he wanted to check on Liz's condition, but was told that Liz needed to change clothes. Upon hearing this, Leon immediately ran out of the room with a red face. Liz, having changed clothes, was like a fairy from the sea, her long dress paired with deep blue pupils. Even Leon was completely smitten after seeing her. Previously, she had been a doll struggling bitterly in her mother's prison. And now she stood before Leon like a fairy. Leon said, trembling all over, "My God, there's actually such a beautiful girl," making Liz blush with embarrassment. But the other dresses will take some time to make. Unexpectedly, Leon continued, "No matter what you look like, you're the most beautiful person in the world." After hearing this, Liz's head was actually steaming. And Leon was silent for a while, thinking, can someone like me really make you happy? You must be tired after sitting in the carriage for so long coming to the palace. Then rest well. Lying in bed, Leon thought about how cute Liz was today. But suddenly there was a knock at the door. Liz quietly poked her head over. It turned out she came to thank His Highness the Crown Prince. But didn't we agree that in private you should just call me Leon? Liz blushed, stammering as if she wanted to say something. Leon understood the situation. She seems to have come to say goodnight to me. How about I say one sentence, you say one sentence. Good night, Leon. Liz also lowered her head slightly and followed along. Leon suddenly reached out his hand. This is a goodnight kiss for you. Liz's face instantly turned red. Unexpectedly, she made a sharp turn and dove into the covers. Leon looked at her in panic. That's my bed. Did she fall asleep so quickly? It seems that this is the first time we've shared a bed. I feel like I haven't slept with the Empress in a long time. Leon tiptoed onto the bed. I really hope this little face can be filled with smiles every day. Liz's hands are really so small. They really give one the urge to protect her. In his drowsy state, Leon suddenly appeared at the sword training ground. And just when he was about to become a sword saint, unexpectedly, a maid patted his body and said, "The young lady has already gotten up and washed. Your Highness should get up too." Liz beside him covered her mouth and said, "Your Highness the Crown Prince, do you like sleeping in? It seems the royal morning is different from what Mother described. Liz, is there anything you want to do today? Or anything you want to eat?" Leon saw that Liz looked a bit at a loss, so he suggested, "Let's go see the dogs." A cute white dog came into view. Liz looked at this fluffy, soft little dog. It seemed different from the dogs her father raised. Through Leon's introduction, she learned, "This is a dog raised by the nomadic people in the northern part of the Northern Territory. They were born not long ago. They're very cute. I thought I must show them to you." Leon hadn't expected that he would reunite with this little white dog in this way. It was his only close friend in his previous life. When they first met, it was also wearing a blue ribbon. Liz suddenly called Leon. "It hurts here, like it's painful, but also like it's itchy." At this moment, the butler beside them bowed to Liz and said, "Very cute, isn't it?" But Liz seemed not to understand what cute meant. Leon saw this and patiently explained to her. Unexpectedly, after listening, Liz said to Leon, "You're very cute." Leon immediately blushed after hearing this. And after saying this, Liz reached out toward the dogs. The dogs frantically licked her hand, and Liz made a sound of amazement. Leon suddenly stepped forward and said, "Liz, are you okay? You weren't bitten, were you?" Liz looked at him blankly. "I am fine. But can I raise a dog?" Unexpectedly, she immediately picked out Leon's close friend from his previous life. It turned out that Liz felt that Leon liked this little dog the most, so she picked it out. Leon suddenly asked, "How is the palace? Are you comfortable living here?" But Liz lowered her head and said softly, "I'm actually a bit scared, although I don't know what I'm scared of. But I heard the palace maids talking. Will I really never see my father and mother again?" Leon said somewhat hesitantly, "Liz, if you want to see them, you can naturally see them." But when he thought about that Liz's parents had him marry her sister after her death, he felt some resistance. "Is it really right for me to let you see such people?" Although this happened 20 years later, Leon's head felt severe pain. What did I do after Liz drank the poisoned wine? Leon's memory became somewhat blurred. Seeing Leon holding his head, Liz stepped forward with concern. "Are you feeling unwell somewhere?" Leon frantically waved his hands, quickly saying he was fine, just thinking about some things. Liz felt relieved, and also said that in her heart, His Highness the Crown Prince was like a magician. "Because every time I'm with Your Highness, I always have a place that feels itchy, and Your Highness has shown me and let me try many first times in my life. That's just because I'm 2 years older than you, so I've seen more things." Just then, the butler suddenly walked over and said, "His Majesty asks you to go to the office now." Arriving outside the office door, Leon cannot help but complain that the office door looks really tall today. Entering the room, there are only the father and son in the huge room. The king suddenly speaks up saying, "I just sent a letter to the Duke's mansion. What do you think was written in the letter? Could it be a decree stripping away the title? Unfortunately, you only guessed half right. In the decree, I also expressed my apologies for the rash behavior of going to the Duke's mansion early in the morning without prior notice, and provided compensation for forcibly separating the child from her parents." Leon responds somewhat speechlessly, "They won't try to renege and forcibly take Liz back, will they?" The king indicates that now is not the time to think about that child. Leon becomes anxious. "But father, you were the one who taught me to protect my own woman. What if they keep secretly doing that thing to threaten the palace?" Unexpectedly, the king suddenly stands up. "This is not something a 10-year-old child should worry about. Adults will naturally handle such matters. From the results, you did save her, but do you think your method was appropriate? Perhaps there were other methods. For instance, I could have formally summoned her into the palace, though that would have taken some time." Leon clenches his hands tightly. If they would listen to a mere decree, such things would never have happened in the first place. The king continues, "Sometimes, even if the result is correct, the process may not necessarily be right. Moreover, as the future heir to the empire's throne, you must choose more carefully. You know the meaning of regretting when it's too late, right? Having experienced regret myself, I understand its meaning better than anyone. I also know father's future." The king sighs and changes the subject. Has Liz started adapting to palace life? Mentioning Liz, Leon's face turns slightly red. She has gradually adapted. "I also gave her the little dog." "Then you should all become her good friends. You need to pay attention too." Leon responds somewhat speechlessly, "Why are you starting to worry about me now?" Unexpectedly, the king reveals a mysterious smile. "Is it bad that I worry about you? Also, don't come to my chambers to bother me at night lately." On the other side, the tailor shows Liz dress styles. She looks at Liz with anticipation. Unexpectedly, Liz says, aren't there too few gems and lace? If you like, I can help you redesign it to be more gorgeous, adding many beads and gems." Liz looks panicked. "I hate these things, don't bother." Her words leave the tailor somewhat confused, wondering if she wants something simple yet elegant, with a fitted waist that remains comfortable. Liz worries, "Can I wear such comfortable clothes in the palace?" "Of course, especially at your tender age. Gorgeous designs would actually be unsuitable for you. By the way, miss, what kind of clothes do you usually wear?" Liz thinks for a moment. A chemise under a corset, then a hoop skirt over that. The tailor is stunned after hearing this, actually wearing the corrective undergarments that even adults are unwilling to wear nowadays. Are there always many gems on the dress, and is the material rough and abrasive to the skin? Exactly. Mother says that for a perfect lady, the dress is the most important thing. What use are silver silk lace and the most gorgeous gems? No gem can compare to your blue eyes. No thread can compare to your soft hair. The most beautiful existence in the world is you. I will add cotton lace to the hem, so even if it rubs against your skin, it won't hurt. By the way, what kind of hair accessories do you like? We have many accessories here that are quite nice. Unexpectedly, so many varieties leave Liz completely bewildered. The tailor sees her confusion. Then I'll leave all of them for you, just as she and Liz finish negotiating and prepare to leave. A dog suddenly appears. Fortunately, the prince catches it. Unexpectedly, the captain of the knights also arrives, and the scene gradually becomes chaotic. The tailor takes her leave upon seeing this, and Leon coughs twice and calls Liz over. You can also call me Leon in front of others. What I said before about calling me Leon only in private no longer counts from today. Anyway, let me introduce first. This is Albert Dietrich Byrne, captain of the Royal Knights. Starting today, he will undertake the glorious responsibility of protecting Liz. Byrne also introduces himself. Nice to meet you, please take care of me. Facing his introduction, Liz appears confused and at a loss. Even the captain of the knights wonders, why am I here doing this kind of thing? Just a few minutes ago, I was still patrolling the castle. Then I was suddenly dragged here by His Highness the Crown Prince. However, this young lady seems different from what I expected. Her noble etiquette is very proper. This startles the captain of the knights, but Leon feels somewhat uncomfortable watching this scene, though he still tells himself to stay calm. Unexpectedly, the captain takes Liz's hand. Liz looks helplessly at Leon, clearly not knowing how to handle this situation. Leon then telepathically communicates, "You can do whatever you want to do. Then please take care of me from now on, Albert." At this moment, Liz seems to have become the protagonist of a fairy tale. Leon then squeezes between the two of them. "Since an adult is protecting you, starting tomorrow, I'll take you on a proper tour of the palace." Albert looks embarrassed. Indeed, ominous premonitions always come true. I have to be captain of the knights, teach swordsmanship to the crown prince, and serve as a guard. How can I manage all this? Wait, speaking of swordsmanship, I have an idea. I thought carefully, haven't you not practiced swordsmanship for quite a while recently? After tomorrow's sword training ends, I'll also join you in showing the young lady around. What do you think? With me there, your highness, you can even enter some places you usually can't access. The captain speaks enthusiastically, giving Leon no chance to respond. Leon thinks to himself that he has fallen into the trap. All right then, let's do as you say. Liz stares blankly at them. What are you two talking about? After the two return to their room, Leon discovers that Bailey, instead of sleeping in his own bed, has actually gone to his bed. After a moment of silence, both simultaneously call out each other's names. Leon scratches his head. Do you still remember the flower ring I made for you? Liz responds happily. Of course I'm wearing it, though it has all withered. Leon expresses wanting to borrow it for a while and says there will be interest when he returns it. But speaking of which, Liz, what did you want to say earlier? It turns out she just wanted to say thank you. Although I'm still confused now, I don't have to wear a corset or endure thorns anymore, and I can wear comfortable shoes. And I met cute Bailey and handsome Knight Byrne, and you held my hand and led me away from danger. With you behind me, my heart feels much more at ease. So, thank you, Leon. I'm no longer afraid. Her words make Leon blush. He then gives Liz a goodnight kiss in return. Well then, good night, Liz. But after he leaves, he somehow suddenly wants to cry. The next morning, Liz chats happily with the servants, as if treating them all as family. But Leon suddenly turns back. Liz, you don't need to be so respectful to them. It would make them uncomfortable instead, but they all live in the palace. Leon responds somewhat proudly. In the entire palace, you only need to respect father and mother. The servants nearby nod in agreement. But what did you want to say at the end earlier? Liz thinks for a moment. I wish you a pleasant day today too. The servants all beam with joy after hearing this. Later, Leon takes Liz out for a tour as promised, and Liz shows interest in everything around her. Just then, Liz points to the tower in the center of the lake. Can we go there? After hearing this, Leon shows an embarrassed expression. Sweat begins flowing down his face uncontrollably. A breeze blows across the lake surface. Liz's face radiates with smiles, but Leon beside her feels the entire world has become dim. Why did we have to come here at this time? When the boat is about to dock, it rocks back and forth. Leon immediately pulls Liz into his arms. When they enter the clock tower, Liz's eyes brighten. I didn't expect it to be so spacious inside. But Leon suddenly picks up Liz, saying, let's go out after these people have passed. But we just came in. Leon, you've been acting strange since earlier. Are you hiding something from me? Leon cannot handle this anymore. Let's wait in that room first. After entering the room, Liz discovers a clock without hands. This clock might be broken. You can play while waiting so you won't get bored, Leon answers. The next second, Leon suddenly reacts. Wait, Liz, that clock can't be touched. But obviously it is too late. Liz falls unconscious, and when she opens her eyes again, she finds herself in a dark room. filled with terrifying atmosphere everywhere. Suddenly, a voice comes from behind. A distinguished guest has arrived. A girl in a cloak flies over and says, "Please don't be afraid, Liz. I am the Witch of the Clock Tower." Liz wonders, "How do you know my name?" The Witch of the Clock Tower naturally knows everything. Where you are now is the top floor of the clock tower. In fairy tales, witches are all evil villains. Will this witch be an exception? I have never seen such a sorrowful witch. Children probably don't like tea, so let's have some milk instead. The witch waves her hand gently. Liz suddenly flies onto a chair, and the cups and pot move by themselves. "You like rose macarons, right?" Liz is stunned. "How do you know?" "I've never told anyone in the palace." "Didn't I say? The Witch of the Clock Tower knows everything." Liz looks at her with teary eyes. "Are you planning to fatten me up before eating me?" How did the topic suddenly switch to this? No wonder people say fairy tales ruin children. You don't need to worry too much. I am your friend. It seems Leon has made some efforts. Do you also know Leon? Of course. Is Leon good to you? Mentioning Leon, Liz's face involuntarily reddens. She nods slightly. Leon also gave me a pair of low-heeled shoes. And he can make flower rings. After making one, he personally put it on me. That's my most precious treasure. He also let me live with him in the palace. And I also want to stay by Leon's side. Liz talks about her experiences in the palace at length. Just then, she suddenly remembers, right, the clock. Leon told me not to touch the clock. Liz anxiously expresses, "Witch, I should go back. Leon is still waiting for me." The witch appears very calm and asks, "Liz, are you happy now?" Liz is stunned. Although Leon often says he will make me happy, his face is still full of unease. Looking at Liz's expression, the witch says, "It seems Leon needs to work harder. However, happiness ultimately must be learned through one's own strength. Others can help you, but cannot implant it in your mind." But Liz still doesn't understand after hearing this. Is it too difficult for a child? Well, there's no help for it. Time is almost up. You told me a very interesting story. I should send you back to Leon's side. But today's meeting between us two must be kept secret from everyone. The witch smiles slightly. When I say everyone, I include you and me. When Liz wakes up again, she finds herself lying on a bed, while Leon cries painfully beside her. When Liz collapsed, it reminded Leon of the past. Countless fears instantly surge into Leon's heart. He kneels helplessly on the ground, pleading, "We can't just go back to the past like this." After waking up, Liz is also startled by Leon. "Don't cry, I'm fine." But Leon keeps apologizing. "I'm sorry, Liz. I'm truly sorry." At this time, a pink-haired girl walks over saying, "Grandfather, the medicine is here." "Oh, you're already awake? The hands in the clock tower cannot be touched carelessly. You almost had a big problem. You should drink the medicine first." "Your Highness, you and my grandfather should still have things to discuss, right? I'll take care of this child for now." Unexpectedly, the prince grasps Liz's hand again. "Liz, you don't feel uncomfortable anywhere else, do you?" "I feel very good now." "Leon, stop crying." At this time, a voice came. "Your Highness the Crown Prince, you should go." As soon as Leon leaves, the red-haired girl introduces herself to Liz. "I'm Mimile, the future owner of the clock tower." "A witch? Apprentice?" But this statement makes Liz fall into memories, as if she has heard it somewhere before. Mimile looks at her anxiously. How should I explain to her? It would be bad if she knew His Highness made a deal to find her soul. Actually, that's a side effect of the medicine. Do you remember touching that clock in the room? There are many dangerous toys like the clock you touched in this clock tower. So you fainted because you saw scary things that children shouldn't see. Then you were given medicine that can erase memories. But Liz still stares blankly at her. "What exactly is that clock tower?" Mimile responds somewhat proudly. "Then I'll give you a special lesson, but you must pay a corresponding price. What do you have in your pocket?" Liz obediently takes things out. "Do these things have value too? Let me take a good look." Unexpectedly, the witch picks up a mushroom, saying, "This one is good." But actually, the witch helps her pick out a poisonous mushroom. "Liz, what was your mood when you put these things in your pocket?" "When I found the pebble," Leon smiled and said that thing was like me. "So I was very happy." The witch sighs. "That's good then. I'll take a little of your happiness as my payment." She then begins explaining, "This clock tower is the Empire's finest magical education institution. When it was established remains a mystery. Although there's no clock outside the tower, this is indeed a clock tower. There was also a clock in the room you entered earlier, right? As I said just now, there are many clocks without hands here. Each room in this tower actually represents 10 minutes and seconds. So it's because I drew hands on that clock that I came to another room? Although I don't fully understand yet, I won't touch clocks anymore, Lady Mimile." The witch looks up to the sky. "I'm already tired of this rigid title from those black-robed magicians downstairs. Just call me Mimile." But the next moment, she suddenly perks up. "Or try calling me sister?" On the other side, the witch's grandfather takes out a white paper. "Your Highness, you have two choices. Throw it away or keep it. Anyway, it's of no use to me. I would probably choose to throw it away." But just as Leon throws it out, grandfather controls the paper ball, throwing it hard to one side. "Your Highness, do you know what this paper is? This is someone's graduation thesis that was just delivered." But when I looked at it, it was still blank paper. Leon picked up the paper ball on the ground, only to see that it was still blank. "Mimis, are you playing with me? But what if it really is a thesis, yet was discarded due to your Highness's simple decision? That magician might harbor resentment against you after knowing." The next second, that paper turns into a paper crane and flies up. If time were reversed, what choice would your highness make? Of course I'd choose to keep it. Because I'd know its importance. Mimis smiles slightly. You went through the trouble of reversing time to pick it up, but the result is still the same. Although I know your highness didn't do it intentionally, please be careful in all your future choices. You used part of your own soul as the price to find her soul. You will regret this later. Magicians always speak so incomprehensibly. But what he refers to includes regret and destiny, and careful choices. This chess game is really difficult to play, but Liz has become a very precious existence to me. At this time in the palace, the king still studies how to hold a welcome ceremony for the newcomer. According to convention, we should also invite those noble children who will become friends. First, we need to finalize the guest list. But do we need to invite Duke Elysian's family? The newcomer they speak of currently lies in bed chatting with the witch, and after just half a day together, they address each other as sisters. What are those people in black robes doing here? They are magicians who want to enter this clock tower. When the time comes, they will submit theses. After passing, they can officially become second hands of the clock tower. Because newly entered magicians act quickly like second hands and cause trouble everywhere, they are called second hands. Magicians familiar with clock tower life are minute hands, and advanced magicians are hour hands. Then, Sister Maymil, are you an hour hand? She responds somewhat proudly. I am someone who will become the youngest hour hand of the clock tower. But currently, I'm still a minute hand. Being an hour hand is not something anyone can do. Even though I learned magic 30 years earlier than others, my level still doesn't reach that of hour hand level advanced magicians. Unexpectedly, Liz suddenly grabs her hand. No, that's not true. You definitely can do it. Sister Mimil definitely can. Mimil immediately looks at Liz with teary eyes. You must be an angel. I really want to see if angel blood flows in your body. During their conversation, Leon rushes over anxiously. Liz, are you feeling all right? After taking Sister Mimil's medicine, I immediately felt better. Her words stun Leon. You said Sister Mimil? Leon responds somewhat speechlessly. We should head back now, Liz. The clock tower is dangerous. Once these people make up their minds, they would even draw father's blood for research. The witch smiles slightly. This guy looks a bit angry. Should I tease him some more? Liz, would you like to tour the clock tower with me again? Liz's eyes light up after hearing this. If Leon hadn't blocked the way in front, Liz would have gone with her. I didn't expect His Highness the Crown Prince wants to leave so much. Looks like I need to quickly create a door. But before Leon and Liz leave, she doesn't forget to tease. Liz, let's have tea together next time. Leon refuses without thinking. With a flash of light, they actually leave the clock tower. Sister Mimil's magic is really amazing. Mimil suddenly pokes her head out. Of course, I'm much more capable than this bad-tempered crown prince. After saying this, the door gradually disappears before their eyes. This angers Leon so much he could pull up grass. Unexpectedly, Liz suddenly says to him, Can I study magic? Because I also want to become a magician like Sister Mimil, who can use rainbow flowering magic. Leon feels the entire world darken after hearing this. But if you really want to become a magician, I'll talk to the clock tower owner. However, you absolutely cannot do dangerous things. Let's pinky promise. The two then go to the Queen's Rose Garden, but unexpectedly Liz hears news about meeting her parents there. She suddenly collapses powerlessly to the ground, her eyes gradually becoming vacant. Even her words and actions return to how they were at the Duke's mansion. At the dining table, no matter how the maids urge her to eat more, she remains indifferent. Because to fit into a corset, I can't eat anymore. Mother said my waist must be thinner than anyone else's. Would you like to look at the dresses first? The closet has colorful ones of all kinds, but Liz insists on white. No matter how the tailor tries to persuade her, it must be white. My parents said Elysian are descendants of angels. White symbolizes the Elysian family, so it must be white. Leon worries and steps forward. Liz, do you really want to wear white? As long as you want it, your dress can be decorated with various colorful gems suitable for spring. Unexpectedly, Liz says painfully, No, it must be white. If I don't wear white, I'll be taken back to the Duke's mansion. In the dim room, Liz leans against the corner. That familiar voice echoes in her ears. Did I return to the Duke's mansion again? I'm really scared. She trembles all over while apologizing. Leon, where are you? Please come save me. Liz slowly lifts her head. Unexpectedly, someone stands in front of her. Are you Leon? But Leon shows a disgusted expression and tells her, I found you annoying from the first time I saw you. This frightens Liz so much that she suddenly wakes from the dream. Where is this? I'm not wearing a corset, and there are no bandages on my legs. So this was just a dream. And on another room, Leon still worries about Liz's situation. But suddenly there are rustling sounds. Could it be an assassin? This has never happened before. He draws the sword from under his pillow. I must finish him off before he enters Liz's room. But when the prince captures him, he discovers this person is actually Liz. Liz says chokingly, Do even you hate me, Leon? Can I continue staying here? Liz, what are you saying? Did you have a nightmare this late at night? Liz stammers. Mother forced me to wear a corset and said I couldn't do anything perfectly in front of you. Liz begins crying as she speaks. You won't send me to a convent like my parents, will you? Leon gently strokes her hand, saying, For someone like me, you are an overly precious existence. How could I do such a thing? Liz, why don't you change your clothes first? They're soaked with cold sweat and must be uncomfortable. I'll call a maid for you. Unexpectedly, Liz trembles all over. No, I don't want to go. Liz, wake up. You just had a nightmare. Moreover, there's no place safer than the palace. In the entire palace and even the entire empire, the person with the highest status is His Majesty the Emperor. The same applies to the ball. The Emperor's status is higher than the Duke's. Even if a ball is held, the palace won't become the Duke's mansion. The Duke and Duchess naturally cannot possibly be in your room. So Liz, none of the things you worry about will happen. Are you willing to trust me? Until the day of the ball, I promise you that for at least 10 years, they won't be able to touch a single hair on your head. I mean, what I say. Liz stares blankly at him. If you're still scared, do you want to sleep with me? If you like, you can also bring Bailey over. Unexpectedly, the next second, Liz falls asleep soundly. Leon sits upright on the bed. I used to understand her so little and treated her coldly. What exactly did I do to her? The next day in the study, the king receives a scolding from the queen because he sent ball invitations to the Duke's mansion and cannot take them back. The queen's anger rises to her eyebrows, but her face still carries a kind smile. Then let's think of a way to clean up the mess for this person who causes more harm than good. How about making them never able to enter society again? The king says softly, that would also work. But has Liz's condition improved recently? She's been wearing dresses and colors she likes lately, but she still often wakes up from nightmares. She can only fall asleep when I'm by her side. Mother Queen is right. You were still as perfunctory as always when approving things. Leon really knows how to shift blame, but no matter what method is used, I will never let them step foot in the palace. Mere suppression will only backfire. We must make them personally say they will never enter the palace again, Leon says seriously. Father, Mother Queen, I'm at the age for external tutoring this year, right? Upon hearing this, the king feels a little uneasy and says to the queen, time really flies, don't you think, queen? Leon continues, boys this age should be causing trouble and making mischief everywhere, right? If father allows it, I, Crown Prince Leon Hard, will do my utmost to turn the ball upside down. Did this guy take the wrong medicine? Your Highness, please calm down first. Can you tell us more specifically? What if such pranks aren't planned but are a child's mistake? If royal oppression becomes their excuse to act up, then wouldn't there be no problem if I, as Crown Prince, embarrass them due to a mistake? Indeed, besides us two, no one else would blame a young Crown Prince. Even if it's a child's prank, as long as it succeeds. It can still serve as a warning to other Duke-level nobles who follow the Elysian family as an example and despise royal authority. A good prank should be very interesting. After the meeting ends, Leon drags Albert to the clock tower. Here, the witch still brews medicine for Leon through the night. But Leon not only shows no gratitude, but even mocks her. Nightburn, can I take this prince-like thing for dissection? Leon then says, for Liz's sake I need your power, Mimil. Mimil is stunned. What happened to Liz? You still remember you promised to participate in Liz's welcome ball, right? I need you to perform some magic then. Since it's related to Liz, I still need to take a look. But asking a witch to do something requires paying a corresponding price. What can you give me? I guarantee you'll receive the most beautiful smile in the world and Liz's affection for you. The witch secretly rejoices. Then I'll definitely prepare a perfect ball. On the day of the welcome party, Liz also puts on the most beautiful outfit, and Leon couldn't take his eyes off her. Liz suddenly turns to look at Leon. Leon's face immediately reddens. Next time you're not allowed to turn like that in front of others. The tailor nearby says, Miss, this dress is not yet finished. Please smile. Only when the person wearing the dress smiles is the dress truly complete. Liz seems to understand somewhat. Is this kind of smile okay? Liz shows a very forced smile. This frightens Leon so much he quickly changes the subject. Liz, do you want to try on the shoes I brought? Letting you wear comfortable shoes might be the only thing I can do for you now. But if this can make you happy, even just a little bit is fine. For your smile, I'm willing to give everything. Thank you, Leon. As long as I wear the shoes you gave me and walk together holding your hand, everything will be fine. Liz's welcome party finally begins. With the tailor's dress as well, this party will surely go very smoothly. Unexpectedly, two familiar voices suddenly ring out. Duke Elysian and the Duchess enter. The lady's corset is tied too tightly, making her dizzy. At this time, a white-haired lady in the crowd thinks very highly of herself, believing everyone around is staring at her intently, and plans to teach those who say corsets are outdated a lesson. The next second, she praises the Duchess's elegant taste as a breath of fresh air in noble society. The Duchess responds, if you're interested, I can introduce you to the clothing shop I frequent. Just then, news spreads that the Emperor and Queen are entering. My Liz should also come together, right? As long as she doesn't speak nonsense and follows what I taught her, she will definitely shine this time. The king strides forward. Spring brings warmth and flowers bloom, everything revives. The royal family also welcomes a lovely new member, namely the future companion who has promised lifelong commitment to the crown prince. Today is a welcome party for the future crown princess, so everyone please don't be restrained. The king pauses. This outfit is really eye-catching. You can spot it in the crowd even if you don't want to look. The king turns back to look at Liz. Child, you are the protagonist today. Why don't you say a few words to everyone? Leon tugs at her dress. Forget everything in your head right now. The people with the highest status here are not your parents, but Father and Mother Queen. So just say whatever you think. Liz walks onto the stage with a melancholy expression, but her mother is more nervous than she is. What is this girl dawdling for? Why doesn't she speak? Fortunately, Leon behind her keeps encouraging her. She gathers her courage. She bows deeply to the guests present and thanks everyone for welcoming her. Liz's speech goes extremely smoothly, but afterward she becomes restless and anxious again. Leon stays with her throughout. If things don't go well this time, I'll take you and flee overnight. Knight Albert will also always be by your side to protect you. At this time, Albert holds a bottle of red wine while looking around, because this is a task the Crown Prince gave him. Not long ago, Leon found Albert. I don't care what method you use, you must make the Duke or Duchess drink all of this wine. Logically, the Duchess should be easier to approach. Albert looks panicked. Are you trying to poison them? At this time, Albert looks like he's facing death. Since I'm a guard, it's not impossible to do. But unexpectedly, he finds the Duchess without much effort. He suddenly steps forward. I am Captain Byrne of the Royal Knights, and also your daughter's guard. The Duchess coughs twice after hearing this. That child is in your care. Not a single hair on her head can be harmed. By the way, His Highness the Crown Prince commanded me to present this unique royal special red wine to you. Although the bottle craftsmanship is somewhat crude, the red wine inside is crystal clear. Although the Duchess shows some resistance, under Albert's persistent pestering, she still reaches out to accept the wineglass. Madam, His Highness has ordered me to serve you well and ensure no mistakes occur, so please come this way. The witch hidden in the shadows witnesses this entire process. It seems things are progressing smoothly. At this moment, the Duke searches everywhere for the Duchess. Where on earth has that woman gone? She was just here moments ago, scurrying around like a mouse. Suddenly, he spots his wife on the other side of the glass. Madam, what are you doing here? We must hurry to pay our respects to His Majesty. Well, look who's here. If it isn't my wonderful husband, then let's depart. Time to give my child a proper lesson. Seeing his wife in such an intoxicated state, the Duke grows extremely worried. Do you have any sense left? Getting this drunk at such a crucial time? We are practically the hosts of this welcome ceremony. Albert scratches his head nearby. Am I really doing the right thing? Madam, could you please walk properly? What nonsense are you speaking? We pay our respects to His Imperial Majesty, the Sun Emperor of the Empire. Your Majesty's preparation of such a grand banquet for Liz fills this humble servant with overwhelming gratitude. The Empress notices something unusual at this moment. Lady Elysian, you appear rather unwell. The Duke explains from the side. My wife is simply overjoyed today and has had a bit too much to drink. Please do not worry, Empress. In that case, would you be willing to share with the ladies present how you have raised our daughter-in-law? Why does our daughter-in-law appear so mature and adult-like at such a young age? Upon hearing this, the crowd immediately begins murmuring. This hardly sounds like praise. It seems the Elysian family's child-rearing methods are overly strict. Madam, at least say something! The Duke breaks into a sweat from anxiety. Seeing his wife's lack of response, he attempts to speak for her, but the Empress maintains a cold expression. Duke Elysian, I am asking your wife. Madam, can you tell us about your child-rearing knowledge? Even Liz notices something wrong with her mother and wants to say something. But Leon's words echo in her mind. From now on, you no longer need to fear your parents. Suddenly, the Duchess declares loudly, it's love! The Empress appears surprised. What an excellent educational approach, madam. But the Duchess suddenly extends her hand. May I embrace my daughter, Liz? She spreads her arms wide. Liz, come embrace your mother. Leon expresses concern. If you don't want to go, you don't have to. But Liz responds, after hearing your words, I want to confirm something. She slowly walks forward. I knew you would come over. You can quickly assess situations and take action. How sensible. Mother's embrace should bring joy like the Empress and Leon do. I've always anticipated the day when my parents would call my name, give me warm hugs, but Mother's embrace feels uncomfortable. People around murmur among themselves. Didn't she say she was raised with love? Why is the young lady reacting this way? Her body is trembling. You must obey His Imperial Majesty and Her Majesty in the future, and get along well with His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. As the Duchess speaks, the Duke beside her reveals a terrifying expression. Madam, why is there a mouse on your head? Upon hearing this, the Duchess trembles all over. What on earth is happening? Even the other nobles present are frightened. Moreover, mice appear only around Duke Elysian. The Duchess begins vomiting publicly before everyone. The witch in the shadows laughs heartily at this sight. What a rare spectacle indeed. But in the chaos, the Duke's hand reaches toward Liz. Leon rushes forward to protect Liz. But as the Duchess stumbles about wildly, tea and wine glasses fly everywhere. A shard cuts Leon. Immediately protect His Majesty and His Royal Highness. The Duke, restrained by the guards, shouts, I meant no harm, please believe me. Leon ignores the wound on his forehead. Liz, are you all right? Albert, take Liz inside first. But suddenly, images of Liz lying lifeless on the ground in the previous life flash through Leon's mind. Then comes a thud as Leon collapses to the floor. The aftermath is quickly cleaned up. I do not believe my in-laws would attempt such an act, so despite this chaos, I must acknowledge your innocence before all my ministers. However, since this has occurred, accountability is unavoidable. Duke Elysian, you should return home today. The Duchess pleads on the ground. How can I abandon my child and return home? I was simply moved by the red wine sent by His Royal Highness. Do you suggest this is His Royal Highness's fault? He is my only son, now requiring medical treatment. I clearly warned you before not to appear in Liz's sight. This invitation is just like the accident caused by your mistake today, was an error. So please do not shamelessly presume to enter the palace again. Well, madam, you may now offer a sincere apology. Perhaps you should stand to speak. As a precaution, you should reflect in your sealed territory for now. I apologize for causing you such embarrassment again, Duke. The Emperor and Empress accept the Duke and Duchess's apology before everyone, and the ducal couple returns home. At a second-floor window, Liz stares blankly at the departing figures of the ducal couple. Her eyes fill with disappointment. Fragments of recent events flood her mind. The massive wall that had stood in her heart for so long crumbles with devastating force. And on the other side, Leon's headache remains severe, but he still refuses the maid's entry. A child's body gets dizzy from just a bit of champagne, even stumbling when walking. Why is this happening? Leon lies dazedly in the bath. The bloodshed was not in my calculations, but this works well. The news will certainly spread from 10 to 100, and in 10 years, perhaps everyone will know, and the Elysian family will become the most notorious family in imperial history. Whether past or future, this family was always heading toward decline. I merely accelerated the process slightly. However, I worry others might view Liz unfavorably. Even if she becomes a member of the royal family, she might suffer alongside the ducal house. Before that happens, I must help Liz develop independence. I hope Father will also make good use of this opportunity I've created to change Liz's future and prevent Father's troubles from affecting me. I don't want to experience picking up Father's abandoned crown and cleaning up his mess a second time. In any case, the ducal house should pose no problems from now on. But when Leon approaches the mirror, tears flow from his eyes. Those sorrowful images surge into his mind again. Then comes a crash as Leon falls to the floor. The maids rush in upon hearing the sound. Your Highness, are you all right? Leon appears embarrassed. I need sobering soup. Leon's memories are already confused. Whenever he tries to recall past events, he suffers splitting headaches. The same happened the day he gave Liz the puppy. But this is good. Changing memories means the future is changing too. Though recollections cause me splitting headaches. As long as Liz becomes happy by my side. But after saying this, Leon's head throbs with pain again. Why do I assume Liz will definitely stay by my side? I'm merely a tool to make Liz happy. Perhaps my existence is the greatest obstacle. After freeing Liz from the ducal house, can I let her go? How is it that you once treated her as invisible, never searching when she disappeared, but now find this child who trusts you wholeheartedly so endearing that you can't let go? How are you different from Duke Elysian? Or do you think Liz's desired happy life would include your presence? You are truly arrogant and selfish to the extreme. At this moment, Leon finally realizes, when did I begin receiving treatment? Leon, how can you forget what just happened? And don't get injured anymore in the future. Her Majesty said that after the formal engagement ceremony, you belong to me. Upon hearing this, Leon smiles slightly. He lifts his hand to move Liz's hand away. It seems Mother is joking again, but Liz looks anxious after hearing this. It's not a joke. However, Miss Liz, might I have the honor of escorting you? Because at this moment, Leon understands clearly. I cannot stay by Liz's side forever. To protect Liz, I must bear this burden. When Liz finds happiness, I must let go of everything. Meanwhile, the witch has already cleaned the banquet hall spotless. When the king inquires about her desired reward, she contemplates for a moment, then indicates, please allow me to transform the venue into Liz's favorite color. The interrupted welcome ceremony continues, and without Duke Elysian, the welcome ceremony proceeds peacefully. As the ceremony's guest of honor, Liz receives gifts until her hands tire. Miss, though much has occurred tonight, it remains a beautiful evening. I am Marquise Filion. Hearing this name, Leon pauses. Did is not come, but the Marquis looks puzzled. Your Highness, have you met my son before? Upon hearing this, Leon immediately realizes his mistake. He scratches his head nervously. I've only heard about him, as everyone says he's a rare genius. He merely recognizes a few words. Your Highness's praise is too generous for this humble servant. Future Empress, would you accept this gift? This is a doll I crafted personally. Liz appears delighted. This is my first time receiving such a gift. With the last Marquise's departure, it's finally Mimil's turn. On behalf of the Clock Tower's master and all Clock Tower personnel, I once again welcome you to the palace, Liz. With this watch, you can visit me anytime. I've configured it properly so you won't travel to different times like before. Liz is extremely happy. This is the best gift I've received. Good thing Sister Mimil went last. This is my first time receiving so many gifts, but where did Leon go? He wasn't here just now. Suddenly, a beam of light shines on Liz. Leon takes her hand. Didn't I say I'd return it with interest when the time came? Now I return the ring to you. Though I cannot restore your flower ring to life, I've cast a spell so it will never wither. Additionally, I've made a new ring as interest. Liz, will you give me a chance to love you? After the busy welcome ceremony ends, spring quickly transitions to summer. And at this time, Leon and Liz pledge their lives to each other. After the engagement banquet, Leon gives Liz a diary, so she records all her experiences since childhood. I remember the first time I met Leon. I was too nervous and made frequent mistakes, but Leon was very gentle with me. I felt deeply ashamed of those mistakes. Later, Leon gave me shoes without heels. Wearing them on grass, they made soft sounds and felt comfortable. Then Leon gave me a flower ring and proposed to me. I wept with joy. Thanks to their majesties and Leon, I can now live in the palace. Though I feel somewhat unfamiliar and afraid, thinking of Leon's presence gives me peace. Today, Leon gave me a puppy named Bailey. Right now, it's playing by chewing my slippers. His Imperial Majesty held a welcome ceremony for me. Just recalling that scene makes me happy. Leon returned the flower ring he had borrowed and gave me quite nice interest. Afterward, Leon and I held our engagement ceremony. I still remember Leon's expression when he heard my response. What exactly is happiness? Something that could make Leon show such an earnest expression. Here it comes again. Ever since the engagement ceremony, whenever I think about it, I get this fluttery, bewildered feeling. I've consulted the palace maids, my wet nurse, and history teacher, even asked Her Majesty, but still don't understand. Just as she wonders about this, Leon's voice suddenly calls from outside the door. Liz, are you inside? What are you doing? Liz mentions she's reading her diary and remembering the welcome ceremony and engagement ceremony. Is that so? I also came to find you because I remembered the engagement ceremony. That day was as sunny as today, and you were extremely adorable then. Now you've become even more beautiful and adorable. Before long, the two develop increasingly intimate private jokes. Did you go arrange flowers early again today? Yes, I'm getting more skilled and received praise, Leon says proudly. I'll bet my snacks that your flower arrangement will be displayed in Father's chambers within the day. That won't do. What I made today lacks sincerity. Don't worry, Father will definitely love it. Besides, your skill is already the strongest in the entire empire. Upon hearing this, Liz becomes very happy. When I become empress, may I tend all the palace flowers? But Leon suddenly trembles upon hearing this. He says with his whole body shaking, Of course you can. Just then, a maid suddenly appears. Miss Liz, His Majesty asks whether your flower arrangement from today may be moved to his chambers. Please tell His Majesty that though my current abilities are limited and I feel ashamed, if His Majesty likes them, I'll make as many as he desires. Leon says proudly, Didn't I predict correctly? Let's go eat snacks later. But Liz declines Leon's invitation. It's almost time for my appointment with Sister Mimile. Leon responds helplessly, Haven't you given up learning magic yet? But Liz sounds indignant. Today is simply having tea, nothing to do with your Royal Highness. Then return early. Don't eat strange things, don't get lost. Please, I've grown up, haven't I? Then Liz disappears from Leon's sight. Leon scratches his head. Time passes so quickly. Liz has grown up, and grown quite a bit taller, even a few centimeters taller than me. She even said she hopes I'll grow as tall as Sir Byrne. How annoying. Thinking of him irritates me. Anyway, seeing Liz become increasingly free shows great change from the past. At this rate, things will definitely improve. The other side, though Liz is physically at the clock tower, her heart thinks entirely of Leon. The witch smiles slightly. Thinking of your fiancé? In that case, I'll send you back. Sister Mimile really is troublesome sometimes quite annoying, but it's good this way. The mischievous side is more like Sister Mimile. Just then, Liz notices someone with glasses ahead. She kindly approaches to inquire but startles he. I'm just here to handle some business at the clock tower. At this moment, he looks pitiful, like a little rabbit. Through questioning, Liz learns he came to see her teacher, and Lord Mimile is his teacher's granddaughter. So you know Mimile. I'll help you get there. A golden light flashes, and they actually enter the clock tower. Seeing the visitor, Mimile looks shocked. How did you get in? Liz also appears flustered. Can't I bring strangers in with the pocket watch? Liz hurriedly explains. He said he had urgent business in this tower, so I brought him in with the pocket watch. But the witch leaves them both standing there. Please wait while I must concentrate on my research. Lord Mimile is always so energetic. And the next second, the witch suddenly rushes over. Why are you sitting there doing nothing? Grandfather is inside. Liz awkwardly escorts them inside. I'll practice the origami I learned last time while waiting. She carefully folds paper cranes, even getting her dress dirty. But Liz suddenly realizes, I don't care about these things anymore. I wonder what the me who lived in the ducal house would think seeing how I am now. After a long while, seeing Mimile hasn't emerged, Liz leaves a note saying she'll see her next time and goes to find Leon. Arriving at the training ground, Liz only sees Albert. If you're looking for His Highness, you might check the changing room. What did you do today? I went to the clock tower and helped someone who didn't know how to enter the clock tower get inside. I heard that helping those in need is also a form of knightly spirit. So I'm a knight too, right? Albert says seriously, Miss Liz, you are already an excellent knight. Upon hearing this, Liz's heart pounds. Knights always speak to me in such solemn tones. It's really impressive. Could this feeling be admiration? At this time, Leon emerges from the changing room after cleaning up. Are you just arriving now? Seeing Leon, Liz's face instantly turns red, and she hurriedly hides behind Albert. Why suddenly appear before me like this? And with such a good physique, just thinking about it makes me blush. But Leon suddenly approaches and lifts her hair. Why didn't Miss Liz wait for me in the palace? Liz's heart pounds. It seems my object of admiration has changed from knights to Leon. Liz blushes, saying somewhat uncertainly, I missed you. But Leon suddenly turns his head away upon hearing this. Liz wonders, what's wrong, Leon? No, nothing. Didn't we agree to go on a picnic today? Let's go quickly. Then he takes her hand to lead her to the picnic. They arrive at the picnic location where the maids have prepared everything. Liz says, I met a stranger today, a boy about as tall as you, Leon, who seemed to be the same age, carrying a very thick book. Leon thinks, someone matching these characteristics should be his. Was he very timid? Liz looks puzzled. Do you know him? Do you remember the previous welcome ceremony? Because of that incident, Mother said she would personally select noble children our age to enter the palace. So one person enters the palace each year. This year, it's him. Alysis should be Marquis Fillion's heir, and you'd better establish good relations with him. When you stray from the right path, having a friend who would risk their life to stop you. How fortunate can one be in life? Looking back now, when everyone else dared not speak up, only as became furious with me. Such a gentle, quiet person showed such great anger. I was truly a foolish emperor then, not even realizing this. Liz stares at him blankly. Leon often says things she doesn't understand when the mood is good. The breeze blows, feeling like warm wind is approaching. But Liz suddenly remembers something. Mother suddenly said she wants to see the ocean. This completely baffles Leon. Why so suddenly? Meanwhile, in the imperial capital, the empress sits by the window painting. While the emperor stands a few steps away, carefully observing the person and scene before him, he raises his hand slightly to gesture, then walks behind the empress. My dear Freya, this painting you've created is truly beautiful. Darling, what is this painting's title? The empress smiles slightly. I call it Freedom. On the other side, Leon, returning to the palace, finds the life plan he once wrote, but discovers he can no longer remember some things, and only when directly facing something does he remember it. When things become different from the past, memories get torn. Moreover, he discovers that he can somewhat remember anything unrelated to Liz's happiness. But Mother returning to her homeland and dying there, Father accompanying Mother and returning alone, then passing away within days. If I cannot remember why Mother died, it means this matter relates to Liz's happiness. But my memories probably aren't very useful. I only remember that when both my parents died and I first ascended the throne amid chaos, the Elysian family gained every advantage, and those moments when I struggled desperately to forget my own shame and despair. But suddenly, Liz's image appears in Leon's mind, covered in blood, kneeling on the ground and pleading. This scene frightens Leon into a cold sweat. What memory is this? Liz has blood on her hands. What other terrible things did I do? Suddenly, a loud crash echoes from the room. When the maids enters to look, they find His Royal Highness banging his head against glass. He slowly rises, then sits on the bed. Even if I forget everything from the past, I shouldn't forget the crimes I committed against Liz. Remembering those things makes me feel sick and nauseous. I must never forget how Liz looked. I returned here to accept due punishment. For Liz's future, changes must be made. The fastest method is preventing Mother from returning to her homeland. Come to think of it, Mother has never mentioned her homeland. The commotion attracts Liz Leon. Did you bang your head against the wall again? What happened? Let me check if you're injured. You always say it's nothing, then bear everything alone. Leon lowers his head slightly. I'm sorry, Liz. I'm too stupid, too foolish. It's all because I'm stupid and foolish. Liz wonders if Leon is being self-deprecating. He occasionally has such negative thoughts. Leon continues blaming himself, but Liz suddenly embraces him. It's not like that. My Leon is so well-behaved. Liz's action makes Leon's face turn red. Did Mimil teach you to do strange things again? Leon, why do you always say, it's okay, and I'm sorry, as if you've committed some great wrong against me? If it's sneaking extra meals behind my back, I don't mind, since you still need to grow taller. But Leon appears flustered and immediately pushes Liz away, then quickly changes the subject. Liz responds helplessly, mumbling and not answering me again. Afterward, no matter what Leon says, Liz appears indifferent, then insists on taking a nap here. But seeing this, Leon jumps up. You sleep here. I'll find something else to do, then casually strolls toward the desk. At this moment, Liz feels very hurt, then suddenly rises. I'm leaving, but Leon's mind wanders to other matters, showing no emotion on his face. Liz takes 2 steps, then suddenly turns. Won't you really ask me to stay? Huh? What do you mean, ask you to stay? Leon's words make Liz sigh helplessly, and Liz's reaction makes Leon break into a sweat. Did I do something wrong? He suddenly realizes. Liz, do whatever you want. I won't interfere with you. Understand? Enter my room if you want. Leave if you want. Sleep in my bed if you want. But Liz shouts, that's not what I meant. Your Royal Highness is an idiot. This completely bewilders Leon. But when Liz returns to her room, she collapses to the floor. I didn't intend to say those things to Leon, but why did I get so angry? Bailey, do you think I'm strange too? I don't want Leon to dislike me, but why do I always lose my temper with him? I hope he won't be hurt by my words, but when I notice he's distracted with me, I get angry. I don't know what to do. But suddenly a voice comes. Liz, may I come in? If you don't want me to enter, I'll speak from here. But Liz becomes angry again upon hearing this. Why ask me about such things? You are His Royal Highness. You're the one who can do whatever you want. You tell me every day to do whatever I want, that I can do anything. But before that, why don't you set an example first? Leon remains silent for a while. Liz wonders if her words were too harsh. Then Leon's voice responds, then I'll do whatever I want. Listen well. This is an order. Liz, come see the ocean with me. After saying this, Leon immediately regrets it. Why did I suddenly suggest seeing the ocean? I still don't know if letting Mother go to the seaside is right or wrong, but if I don't say this, it feels like I can't make up with Liz today. Inside the door, Liz sobs continuously. Leon feels uncomfortable. Though I don't know exactly why Liz is like this, I hope Liz won't cry because of me anymore. Then he slowly opens the door. Shall we go see the ocean? You've never seen it since childhood, right? You know Mother grew up at a seaside port, right? Liz has heard a little about this. I hear it's the Empire's finest recuperation destination. Right now they're holding a theater festival there. The plays are based on local legends from Mother's hometown. I hope to take this opportunity to let you see it with your own eyes, and I heard Father fell in love with Mother at first sight in that place. When Leon finishes this sentence, Liz immediately agrees. Then let's go ask for Father's permission right now. In the Emperor's chambers, the Empress is also speaking of wanting to go to the seaside. The ocean is truly wonderful. But Freya, I think my broad, loving embrace is better than the ocean. But the ocean is boundless. The day we first met, I was riding my horse, planning to gallop toward the horizon. Do you remember? I nearly got kicked in the head by that horse. I remember that clearly whether I want to or not. Freya leans against the Emperor. I want to go to the seaside to see the waves. May I? The king frowns. Though I can have ministers handle state affairs temporarily. Precisely because of this, I cannot let you go. Just then, a guard reports that Leon and Liz request an audience. Here comes my son with no manners. The two enter the room, but Leon happens to catch a glimpse of the painting of the sea. But the king's attention focuses entirely on Liz. Child, how do you grow more beautiful each day? Leon suddenly speaks up. We both want to see the ocean. Upon hearing this, the Empress's eyes light up. Let's go see the ocean. While the king looks worried. Freya, I can do anything for you. But before the king finishes, the Empress uses the children as leverage. The atmosphere feels somewhat indescribable at this moment. Why do you suddenly want to see the ocean? Liz wants to see the theater festival in Her Majesty's hometown. His Highness also invited me to go together. The Empress claps enthusiastically. Your Royal Highness, how thoughtful. Why don't the entire royal family go to the seaside for summer retreat? What do you think, Your Majesty? But the king forces composure. Very well, Freya. That's a good idea. Children, go prepare quickly. Liz is very happy to receive permission, but Leon worries. I hope I haven't acted unnecessarily. They finally arrive at the seaside, where the dock bustles with activity. Even the walls are covered with theater advertisements. Ocean waves approach with rustling sounds. I can't believe this is the ocean. Liz, how is it? Isn't it beautiful? Leon says nearby, Father, I think coming together was a wise decision. They look very happy. But the king lacks enthusiasm. So they look happy. Leon appears surprised. Didn't Father's previous affection for Mother extend to traveling together? But regardless, we're here to vacation. At least right now, I want to enjoy the summer retreat life. Let me look at the theater synopsis. The Little Mermaid. The mermaid princess and prince confirmed each other's feelings, but she realized she could never be happy by the prince's side. After the prince ascended the throne, he built a beautiful aquarium for the mermaid princess. Finally, the witch turned her into foam for the mermaid princess's true happiness. After reading the synopsis, Leon trembles, images flashing through his mind. This is like a beautiful play, my Freya, my beloved who pursued freedom all her life. In the end, I personally set you free. So in the previous life, Mother's cause of death was falling from a cliff. Father has granted Mother freedom. I cannot recall any other memories. Could it truly be Father who harmed Mother? If only my memories were clearer, I would not have to guess like this. Suddenly, Leon remembers the drama festival. So Mother had also watched dramas of this theme. The nearby king notices Leon's unusual expression. I see your complexion is not well. Are you all right? But Leon suddenly speaks up. Father, I do not like seeing Liz sad. Why do you suddenly say this? Father, you also dislike seeing Mother sad. Do you not? The king nods. Leon says with confidence, I want to change the drama's ending. I hear the drama concludes with the mermaid princess turning into foam for freedom. How can we let Liz witness such a story? I now plan to follow your majesty's example and familiarize myself with how to abuse power. The king looks helpless after hearing this. He had thought this boy had changed after meeting Liz. Though I will not stop you, I do not recommend you do this. Father, do you remember what I said before? To treat Mother better. Upon hearing this, the king immediately presses Leon to the ground with one hand. I think you should take care of your fiancé instead. I truly do not know who you take after. Freya, leave our son to our daughter-in-law's care. We shall go enjoy our time as a couple. Leon stares at them blankly. I can only pray that Father's feelings of cherishing Mother are genuine. Inside the drama society, the director looks terrified. There are only 4 days left until the performance. And now you speak of changing the ending? Even if you are His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. This is impossible. Leon appears arrogant. I know your stories are all excellent, but I do not want to see my fiancé and Mother cry over sad scenes. Besides, are you not also dissatisfied with this ending? The director nearly collapses upon hearing this argument. Do you have an idea for how to change the ending? Leon whispers an ending proposal in the director's ear. After hearing it, the director's eyes immediately brighten. Evan, can you do this? He stands up abruptly. This is not a question of whether I can do it. Why was such a wonderful story only mentioned now? Never mind that there are still 4 days until the performance. Even if there were only 1 day left, I believe no creator would abandon such a good story. Then I shall look forward to your work. Leon, what exactly did you say? I merely provided him with a new possibility. Actually, Evan also hopes Mother can be happy. Though I have caused him considerable trouble, I still hope the first drama my my beloved companion watches has a happy ending. But Liz falls into contemplation upon hearing this. What was the original ending of the Mermaid Princess story? So you do not know, Liz? Then let me tell you about it. The Mermaid Princess. So it was such a sad story. Yes, but later many directors began adapting this story, so there are actually many different endings now. Is that so? But Leon, we seem to have taken the wrong path. Leon shows no concern whatsoever. He notices a child by the roadside. Then he calls him over immediately. I want you to run an errand. You know where the royal villa is, do you not? Please deliver this to the gatekeeper at the villa. Tell him that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Miss Liz will return later. This is your errand fee. After you finish, enjoy the festival as well. But Liz appears puzzled. Leon explains, the night market will begin soon. The day Mother died was the last day before returning to the palace. We should be fine if we watch quickly and return, should we not? Since we are already here, would it not be a pity not to experience it? With me here, you need not worry. I have grown up, and I carry a sword to protect you. There is one more thing. Right now I am not the Crown Prince, and you are not a young lady. How about we be ordinary citizens? Upon hearing this, Liz's face cannot help but redden. Then Leon takes Liz's hand and begins their dreamlike journey. They walk and stop along the way. The town has many things worth lingering over. Leon gives Liz a bracelet. It is said this bracelet can fulfill people's wishes. If the string breaks, the wish made that year will come true, and you must buy a new one the following year. After hearing this, Liz's face turns completely red, her heart pounding. What wish will Leon make on this bracelet? Will his wish include me? I did not expect the night market to be so interesting. But Leon suddenly notices a poster nearby. I hear there will be a fireworks show soon. How about we sit down to rest and watch? All right, Leon smiles slightly. Then I shall take you to a place. Leon leads Liz up a mountaintop, but Leon suddenly hears rustling sounds. He stops in place, just as Liz reacts. Leon unexpectedly pushes her toward the cliff edge. With a thud, Liz falls to the ground. Leon, what are you doing? But the next second, someone cries out. Leon pins someone to the ground and says, "Come out, all of you!" Unexpectedly, an endless stream of weapon-wielding figures emerges from behind Leon. I truly do not know when you began following us. Who exactly are you? There are approximately 11 opponents. Excluding the one I have subdued, there are likely 10 remaining. 2 of them suddenly speak up. We are gentlemen from the sea, tracking the precious scent on your person, young master. Do not worry, we will not harm your beloved. But unfortunately, we have spent all our money. You look so affluent. You must have considerable wealth, do you not? So you only want money? Before Leon can finish speaking, that person lunges forward. He grabs Liz's hair. I will not harm you, so do not be too frightened, miss. We are not such crude people. But Leon faces an attack on his side. Liz, stay there and do not move. Liz's face turns pale with fear at the scene before her. A nearby bandit continues to fan the flames. Yes, miss, you will only get in the way. Upon hearing this, tears cannot help but flow from Liz's eyes. Get in the way. Leon continues his confrontation here. There are far too many opponents. Even though I am well trained, this is not my previous body after all. I cannot fight for extended periods. However, compared to Liz, they seem more interested in me. Suddenly, the poster flashes through Leon's mind. He has heard that areas with high salt and water content attract pirates. Wanted criminals are certainly arrogant. Previously, there have been numerous incidents where royal family members' identities were exposed, and they were subsequently used to threaten the emperor. Must I handle this here? Though I have long grown accustomed to such bloody scenes, I had wanted to give Liz beautiful memories. After exchanging blows with Leon, the pirates all begin trembling. It seems this young master can fight better than you imagined. Are you beginning to feel a sense of crisis now? As soon as Leon finishes speaking, those 3 men charge at him together. Unexpectedly, Leon grabs one tough guy by the collar and lifts him aside, using him to block the blade in his companion's hand. Blood immediately gushes forth. Leon shows no fear when facing them. He brings out 100% of his usual training strength to respond. Even that shrimp's face fills with surprise. However, after several rounds, Leon's stamina still cannot keep up. He rises and counts the number of people. 4 remain on the field now. But if I return in this wretched state, father will probably be frightened. Will he not? Unexpectedly, just as Leon becomes distracted, a shrimp suddenly charges forward to stab Leon, piercing precisely the arm Leon uses to wield his sword. At this moment, Liz remains motionless in place, only able to shout warnings. Waves of helplessness immediately surge through her heart. Leon shouts upon seeing this. Liz, do not move recklessly. After speaking, Leon delivers another backhand strike to defeat that shrimp. Then he looks back at the man beside Liz. If I must fight him, I cannot delay any longer. Though he says he will not touch Liz, Liz is essentially his hostage. Moreover, what if something happens to father and mother while I am fighting him? I underestimated them too much. Just as Leon continues pondering, that shrimp launches another attack against him. Young master, I think you should surrender obediently. Leon looks completely impatient, so noisy. Unexpectedly, the sword in Leon's hand suddenly slips. A sound rings out. The ground instantly becomes soaked with blood. The shrimp's sword pierces deeply into Leon's body, though it avoids his heart. The moment the sword is withdrawn will cause massive blood loss. The situation becomes increasingly uncontrollable. That shrimp looks smug. Young master, do not worry. After we kill you, we will take good care of the young lady and the valuables. Leon roars loudly. Nonsense! At this moment, Leon feels somewhat faint from excessive blood loss, and his entire body trembles. If I had known I would be caught up in such matters, I would have definitely kept Liz in the palace. No, I should have prevented Mother from returning to her hometown. Mother's death might be related to my entanglement with pirates. I should have considered all variables arising from my actions long ago, but due to arrogance, I failed to do so. Could it be that in the end, I still cannot prevent Mother's death? Perhaps reversing time was meaningless from the beginning. Father killing Mother is fate. Eventually, Father will pass away, and everything will turn to bubbles. This is what Mimas called the price of fate. Thinking of this, Leon actually begins laughing heartily. If it is a fate of dying for Liz, that would not be bad either. But even if I must die, it should be after Liz achieves true happiness. Leon's eyes fill with light once again. He kicks that shrimp. Leon also pulls out his sword smoothly. How much effort did I expend to reverse time? How much effort did I expend to reach this point? How could I abandon everything because of you people? Leon finishes speaking and pins that shrimp to the ground. At this moment, purple light actually surrounds his body. The small leader behind him senses something amiss. This boy's aura has suddenly changed. The remaining group becomes somewhat disorganized upon seeing this, and are then swiftly dealt with by the awakened Leon. Leon's gaze also becomes more determined. He takes a quick step and rushes to the leader's side. Then he grabs his face with his hand and slams him hard against the ground. Then he slowly raises the sword in his hand. I will cut off your limbs. The leader lying on the ground frantically picks up a sword that had fallen to the ground. He aims at Liz crouching on the ground. Then he grabs her immediately. Can you still cut me down now? His action completely enrages Leon. Though this aura is indeed that of a sword master, it is still very unstable at present. As long as I hold out a while longer, he will go berserk and destroy himself. If you attack me now, this young lady will perish with me. At this moment, Liz trembles all over. I actually cannot do anything. Just as Liz feels utterly hopeless, the light around Leon becomes even more intense. I have unconsciously maintained expectations for Leon all along, but Leon appears to show no hesitation whatsoever, nor does he seem likely to stop. I am so frightened. Will he really kill me? At this critical moment, Liz actually closes her eyes. She remembers something her mother once said to her. The greatest help for those who cannot help at all is to die early. Just then, a scream rings out. Leon actually pierces through that leader's hand. Even Liz looks completely bewildered. I hope you do not misunderstand. I did not kill you, not because my sword energy is weak, nor because it does not obey my commands, but because I do not want Liz to see anything unseemly. Leon smiles. Sorry for frightening you. Upon hearing this, Liz sheds tears. I am so useless, only knowing how to be afraid. Accompanied by the fireworks of the drama festival, Leon and Liz finally embrace. Leon's face slightly reddens. That was frightening, was it not? I am sorry. I did not mean to harm you. But Liz says, though I was afraid, more than that, I feel I was a burden. This makes me more angry and sad. That day, Liz also makes a wish, hoping she can become strong. Strong enough to prevent such things from happening a second time. Strong enough to protect herself and Leon. After returning to the palace, the two are unsurprisingly severely scolded by the Emperor and Empress. But despite Leon's serious injuries, he still thinks about that drama. Fortunately, they can move freely with adult supervision, but Liz slightly lowers her head. Thanks to Leon, I was able to visit the night market. Liz's words surprised Leon greatly. Did you really mean what you just said? The Emperor here continues pondering. To think there are still pirates running rampant, even in the Empress's hometown. Just then, Liz suddenly stands up, apologizes incoherently to the Emperor and Empress, then quickly flees the scene. The remaining three look bewildered. Leon thinks, did I make Liz shy? Then let Liz return to rest first. Let us continue our previous conversation. The king looks serious. When exactly did you become a sword saint? After returning, Liz throws herself on the bed. Why does my heart race every time Leon comes near me? Yet I also feel very disgusted. I do not dislike Leon. Leon became that way because of those pirates. He was very frightened and angry, not only because of those pirates, but also because I could not help at all. But Liz suddenly springs up again. Leon returned with serious injuries without receiving treatment. I always act so selfishly. Moreover, the Emperor and Empress do not yet know about Leon becoming a sword saint. Liz returns to that side again. But to her surprise, they had already known about Leon becoming a sword saint. No parents would not worry about an injured child. Liz stares at them blankly. Will they dislike me for causing their son's injury? At this moment, Liz feels somewhat heavy-hearted. In the end, I still have nothing, engaging in wishful thinking. That is why every part of my body keeps crying out in grief. If possible, I would rather these emotions disappear in a storm. But Leon's situation appears somewhat dire. He lies bloodied against the bedside. This really hurts. It is all because I stubbornly pretended nothing was wrong. But fortunately, though Liz saw my other side, she still told me tonight was interesting. It seems Liz now considers father and mother true family. Leon worries about Liz despite his serious injuries. Attendants and the royal physician have already arrived to treat His Highness. Leon lies painfully on the bed. Tears slide from the corners of his eyes. Does father truly love mother? This question keeps echoing in my ears. When I worried about mother's safety and rushed back to the palace, father was slowly walking toward mother holding that object. It turns out that was a conch shell father had picked up for mother at the seaside. Leon stares at them blankly. I have never properly accepted father's caresses. If father had made different choices before, and mother had not died, what would have happened? If I had known this would happen, why did it happen in the first place? Perhaps the previous me would have become a slightly better person. Perhaps I could have shared her pain. It is only because I sympathize with that useless me who could not seek comfort from anyone. How fortunate, Your Highness the Crown Prince, to remain conscious despite such serious injuries. The naval admiral sends you a uniform and gloves out of apology. After the wound is bandaged, Leon puts on the uniform the admiral sent him. At this time, Liz also changes into her uniform and comes to Leon's room. Leon, are your wounds feeling better? Unexpectedly, the moment they look at each other, both their faces redden. In the royal hall, the naval admiral bows apologetically to Leon. As the admiral of this region, I am deeply ashamed and have no face to see you. The pirate leader and that surviving subordinate have all been eliminated by us. Congratulations also on becoming a sword saint. I deeply admire you. Today's banquet is to celebrate this matter. Please enjoy to your heart's content. But the Empress's stomach feels somewhat uncomfortable. Leon looks worried. Mother, are you all right? Why is your complexion so gray? In an inadvertent moment, Leon sees father's expression full of concern, but the Empress smiles. Liz, would you like to go see the ocean with me? Several people come to the seaside. Indeed, after blowing in the sea breeze, she feels much more comfortable. Liz, do you sometimes have moods that fluctuate like summer's plum rain? Liz nods upon hearing this. That is wonderful. You are much more lovely now than when you first arrived at the palace. Tell me quickly, do you sometimes dislike Leon beside you, yet sometimes like him very much? Liz, do you like Leon hard? Or rather, do you love him? Unexpectedly, this remark makes Liz's face completely red. Do you know what the difference is between my love for the sea and my love for His Majesty? If you have not thought it through clearly, you can tell me any time. Though you have already held an engagement ceremony, if you wish, you can court others at any time. Though Leon and His Majesty the Emperor are both people I love, they are actually very similar. Child, you need to be happier. Therefore, I hope you can carefully consider your feelings toward Leon. Do you think Leon is suitable to be your lifelong companion? I indeed want to spend my entire life with Leon, though this feeling is complicated. When I look at Leon, my heart feels itchy, as if something is sprouting and growing in my heart. Seeing Liz covering her face shyly, the Empress teases, perhaps my joke was too much? But at least in this Empress's view, Leon Hard and Liz like each other mutually. Your Majesty the Empress, you seem to know everything and care for me so much. It is like magic. Liz, do you not already know? Not only liking, other emotions also show through expressions. Will His Highness the Crown Prince also know that I like him? You might as well ask Leon directly about this. Liz's face visibly reddens. Sometimes if two people do not speak openly and honestly, they will not know what the other is thinking, even if they have known each other for a long time. Liz looks at the Empress with confusion. What does this mean? At this moment, the king suddenly walks over. What are you discussing with Liz so seriously? Leon also runs over here. What did you discuss with Mother? Liz's face turns completely red. I want to know Leon's thoughts, and I hope Leon's answer can make me certain that his thoughts are the same as mine. Under the sea's witness, Liz confesses to Leon. But Leon does not answer her at this moment, and he even shows an incomprehensible expression. Liz becomes completely bewildered looking at Leon's expression. Then, using the excuse of suddenly having matters to attend to, she leaves the scene. Leon, who chases to the palace, also fails to see Liz. In the afternoon and evening, Leon comes looking for Liz, but no response comes from inside. After Leon bids Liz good night, Liz slowly peeks out. I originally did not intend to keep avoiding Leon, but I simply lack the courage to see him. Now thinking back, after I entered the palace, similar incidents have occurred several times. Just like that time in the garden. After I confessed to Leon, he also stammered. I thought at the time that Leon was being shy, but how should I understand his expression today? Whether before or now, I have always liked Leon. If Leon showed that expression because he dislikes me, why has he always been so good to me? Every time I sense I will have nightmares, father and mother always appear in my dreams. The me in dreams is the perfect Liz, completely opposite to the real me. This is all because she obediently listened to mother's words. But Liz knows deeply that these are all lies. Why do you not love the original me? Am I of no use if I am not perfect? When I fall into the quagmire, the first person I think of calling for help is Leon. Another voice reaches her ears. If you truly want to possess Leon Hard, then you must risk your life to become a perfect person. Unexpectedly, Liz suddenly awakens from bed in fright. The cold sweat she broke out in has soaked the bedding. When she looks up, it is actually raining outside. I am already this old, yet I still cry from nightmares. Leon and mother would probably think me worthless, just as she feels disheartened. A voice suddenly calls to her. Liz, are you all right? It is Leon. Not long ago, just after Leon bid Liz goodnight, he sits on the bed holding his head in both hands, frantically banging his head against the bed. I did not mean to make that expression. It was all because I panicked too much at the time. Liz must think I rejected her. But actually, I am also uncertain what Liz meant by those words. I never thought Liz would think the same as me. This should not be wishful thinking on my part, should it? I do not know if I can accept your affection. I have long prepared myself mentally to be disliked by you. Unexpectedly, sounds suddenly come from Liz's room. Hearing the sounds, Leon opens the door and slowly walks toward Liz's room. Liz, are you all right? Did you have a nightmare? Liz's breathing sounds very rapid at this moment. Did you have nightmares because of me? I clearly resolved not to make Liz cry again, yet this happened again. Does Liz really think the same as me? I originally thought my existence was only an obstacle to Liz. Leon musters his courage. I like you, Liz. I am sorry I could not answer immediately before. I originally thought the like you and I spoke of meant different things. My liking for you is not like your liking for flowers. It is the kind where I get excited seeing you and want to stay by your side always. But this time I want to be cautious, since I have hurt you so much before. Why do you always say such things, Your Highness the Crown Prince? I know Your Highness always considers me, but have you thought about yourself? Now thinking back, Your Highness has done far more things for me than things you enjoy doing. I am very grateful for this consideration. But when you are with me, do you feel happy and interesting? Before coming to see the ocean, Your Highness also told me to do what I wanted to do. Your Highness always considers me. Liz clenches her fists. No matter what hurtful things I say, Your Highness always apologizes. What if I suddenly change my mind and reject Your Highness's confession? Leon shudders violently. I will respect Miss Liz's thoughts. Even if you want to dissolve the engagement, I will agree. Did I not say I dislike this? Why do you always act as if anything goes, as if nothing matters? But it is not like that, Liz. Actually, I care very much. I have been enduring all along. It is only because I respect you, Liz. But I have always been the one depending on you. I have never been of any help to you whatsoever. I do not mind these things at all because for you, I would even be willing to give my life. Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Liz suddenly opens the door. Do not casually sacrifice your life for me. Why do you cherish yourself so little? Leon stares at her blankly. Liz has never been this angry before, but this is guilt I must bear alone. I do not want you to carry the heavy burdens you have carried in the past. Do you like me, Liz? Liz's face slightly reddens. I like you too. Liz suddenly presses Leon's face with her hand. Then this is enough for now. I am sorry, Leon. I really am like a fool. I also said I like you. Why are you still crying? Liz, I do not know why either. I just want to cry. Do not look at my face right now. I never thought Liz would have such thoughts. I am sorry. Are you feeling a bit calmer now? Leon, when I had nightmares just now, I dreamed of my parents again. They brought a child identical to me and made her wear a corset, doing various things to her. But that child told me to become the perfect empress for you, Leon. I also envy your family. Upon hearing this, Leon shudders violently. Why do you envy my family? Many people once followed and attached themselves to our family, which is why I could be betrothed to you, is it not? But from a certain moment, my parents' greed caused our family to lose power. They kept blaming me. I really hate how they look in my dreams. But they are still my parents, no matter what. I even thought that if I became empress, our family regained power, would they then cherish me? Though I know this is impossible. Seeing your family, Leon, I inexplicably had expectations. Leon, you saved me, yet I have such bad thoughts about you. Leon stares at her blankly. Could it be that after seeing me and my family, Liz developed jealousy? Leon grasps her hand. Liz, can those two people be called parents? During the welcome ceremony, did you say you felt no happiness at all after experiencing your parents' embrace? It is natural for them to give birth to and raise you. You can dislike the Duchess. Even if you wish, the royal family can find ways to punish her. Leon slowly leans against Liz. There is one thing I hope you definitely know. Both my parents and I already consider you family. So remember that we will always stand on your side. If you dream of your parents treating you badly again, you can try imagining revenge against them. The two unconsciously embrace each other. All right, I will consider it. That night, the parents appear in Liz's dreams again. The lady wearing an enormous hoop skirt and tight corset, the Duke with his backward thinking. When they extend their hands toward me, I think of every way to prevent them from approaching. I have always known that my parents' love and my love are different, though this is a very sad truth. At least in this dream, I smiled before my parents for the first time. Because of this dream, Liz sleeps in for the first time in her life. Since last night, it has been raining continuously. The drama festival and the return to the palace have been postponed due to the storm. It seems things have really become as Her Majesty the Empress said. As soon as she finishes speaking, the Empress and Leon push the door open. I came to tell you that our return to the palace has been postponed. Since that is the case, I plan to tell you an interesting story. What I want to tell you about is the secret of the children who once lived in this palace, a very lovely and mischievous little princess and her siblings. Behind the backs of servants and maids, they secretly hid many treasures in this palace. Those treasures are hidden in places adults would never find, and they are still in this palace now. Your task is to go find them quickly. Leon looks helpless. Suddenly asking us to search through such a large palace. Mother sometimes really catches people off guard. Since that is the case, shall we start searching from this room? The Empress nearby stares blankly out the window. Was my choice really correct? One day they will have to leave their comfortable nest. My choice should not be wrong, should it, brother? The walls everywhere have torn places covered by paintings, so Her Majesty the Empress was already so good at drawing as a child. But this room does not seem like Her Majesty the Empress's room. It is more like a room a boy used. If my uncle were alive, this would probably be his room. Thinking about it this way, Leon, do you not have relatives around you either? I did meet distant nobles a few times as a child, but I have no impression of them. It seems father had them reorganized. In that case, both you and I will become alone after our parents pass away. Leon suddenly takes Liz's hand. We will not be alone. Do we not still have each other? Speaking thus, Leon and Liz come to a dark room. When Leon was looking for Evan, he kept thinking whether Mother's death might have other hidden circumstances, but he never found a suitable opportunity to search the palace. This time, he can search openly and legitimately. At this moment, Leon suddenly triggers a mechanism, and a skeleton drops from above, frightening Liz so much that she frantically shakes Leon's neck. This almost made Leon lose his soul. But when Liz picks it up, she discovers it's just a model, apparently designed to scare people who enter this room. They even installed a mechanism. Liz, if you're afraid, we don't have to keep searching, but Liz immediately refuses. Leon then carefully examines the room. Oars hang on the walls, suggesting the room's owner enjoyed rowing, and everything gives him the feeling that someone lived here just yesterday. At an unguarded moment, Liz notices the book on the table. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be a sketchbook, filled with various pencil drawings. No matter how she looks at it, this seems like Mother's room. The people in the drawings all look so happy. I never thought I would see my mother's past in this way. As a child, I pestered Mother to tell her stories, and finally managed to get a book about Mother's family. But the people in these drawings look much happier than those described in that book. I truly wishes my family could have left behind such drawings. Leon and Liz share an unexpected similarity. Neither has ever met their mother's relatives. Leon, what would it be like if we had many cousins and siblings? Leon falls into reminiscence upon hearing this. In the past, I firmly believed I and Liz had nothing in common. Thinking of this, both simultaneously ask the same question. Weren't you lonely before? Both their faces flush slightly, and their speech becomes hesitant. Liz coughs twice and says, very lonely. But the person who made me no longer lonely is you, Leon. Leon trembles violently upon hearing this, his heart aching continuously. He changes the subject. By the way, I know that among these people, my eldest uncle and mother had the closest relationship, though I can't remember why he passed away. This person's temperament feels very similar to my mother's. She seems to have taught the mother of the then crown princess together with my late grandmother. Liz breaks into a cold sweat upon hearing this, remembering her mother's past teachings. So this room has been maintained in this state, as if waiting for its owner to return at any moment? I once read a book about Mother's family that said Mother was the most precocious and spirited one in the entire family. Perhaps the servants deliberately arranged the room this way, so Mother could forget everything about the palace when she returned. Even Liz's mother mentioned that the palace places great emphasis on protocol. Our betrothal arrangement was probably the previous queen's idea too. I've also heard that the previous queen had some special agreement with House Elysian. In any case, it seems Mother had a difficult time back then. Will House Elysian end up the same way? Like the Queen's family, existing only in historical records? After all, there are no other children in my family who can carry on the lineage. While continuing their conversation and search, Leon suddenly notices that a picture frame on the wall appears crooked. He reaches up and lifts the frame, revealing a large hole behind it. Although this position is a bit high for me, I think I understand why the Queen said those things. Though I don't know why this thing is here, let's take it to Mother first. The Queen should tell us what to do. Leon looks embarrassed. Does Mother want to tell us about that? The scene shifts to show the Queen smiling slightly. You did wonderfully. This is the treasure I mentioned, found in the slot behind the picture frame on the wall, right? Leon asks with some concern. Mother, may I ask why you had us do this treasure hunt? The Queen suddenly stands up. I heard that Miss Liz and His Highness the Crown Prince had a small argument last night, but seeing you both now, you seem to have made up. Next, I want to tell you a story related to this treasure. The protagonist of this story is a young lady. That lady, when she was about Liz's age, married a man who seemed like a prince. But that prince carried a certain curse. He broke a curse-like vow that should never have been broken and chose to marry that lady. Perhaps due to the curse's power, their child died in the womb, leaving the lady in despair, while the witch blamed her harshly and even became violent. Leon trembles upon hearing this, realizing who the story's protagonist is. These events tormented the lady with guilt. Although the child's death was merely an accident, everything seemed to become her fault. Liz, do you sometimes feel this way too? Many things clearly aren't your fault, yet you blame yourself for everything. You must have many such experiences, right? Even that lady was the same. Eventually, the lady and prince's relationship also had problems, though they clearly loved each other deeply. The lady lived in agony. Even when storms came, the sound seemed like a baby's crying to her. Liz suddenly shouts, "Your Majesty, why are you telling such a story?" The Queen strokes her cheek. I'm sorry, you're both still so young. Is the story I'm telling too frightening? Leon, you come here too. By this time, Leon has figured out who the story's protagonist is. Are you afraid? In Leon's heart, he thinks, I've already experienced the pain of losing my mother, so what's there to fear? But he still nods silently. I am very afraid. I can't help you with anything right now. I feel deeply powerless. Even so, I still hope Mother will stay with us and not leave us. So that's what you think. You don't need to worry too much. I no longer need that gun. Seeing you both trying to understand and sympathize with me makes me so happy. I'm telling this story because you'll both face unexpected hardships in the future. I want to give you some advice and hope you can make wiser choices when the time comes. You're still young and have opportunities. After opening up to Leon and the others, the queen cheerfully invites them for tea, but Liz suddenly stops her. "Can you give me that gun?" This shocks Leon so much his jaw nearly drops. "That gun is dangerous, and you haven't learned how to use it. Where do you want to use it?" "Your Majesty, you hope we can rely on each other. I think to achieve this, I must first possess self-protection abilities like His Highness the Crown Prince. Because I also want to protect His Highness the Crown Prince." Leon's heart nearly jumps out of his chest upon hearing this. "Moreover, I want to become strong enough to lighten your burden. I thought a lot when I saw your room earlier. The day we encountered pirates, I couldn't protect myself and became a burden to His Highness the Crown Prince. Whenever I think of these things, I feel so useless. My current state of mind is the same as that lady's. I want to protect the Emperor and Empress who treats me like family, as well as His Highness the Crown Prince. But guns are too dangerous, Liz. Since you put it that way, it seems truly impossible. So how about waiting until you're a bit older to learn? And then I, as queen, will personally teach you. I need to tell His Majesty the Emperor about this." The king suddenly pushes through the door but becomes shocked by the gun in their hands. He walks forward trembling. Seeing the Emperor this way, the queen outputs several hundred words in just a few seconds, completely overwhelming the king. Liz smiles slightly. "Thank you for your wise decision, Your Majesty." Sunshine always comes after the storm, and the postponed play finally arrives as scheduled. Leon frantically bounces his leg beside them, even frightening Liz, who realizes he's just too excited. The king gives Leon a knock on the head. "Sit properly. You have no dignity as a crown prince." The queen smiles beside them. "Your Majesty, what are you doing?" "It feels wonderful sitting with the common people." Leon feels somewhat speechless. "I never expected that while I was worrying sick, you two would be showing affection here. Today is the day for the play's performance and for watching the sunset from the lighthouse cliff." The story Mother told, along with those small notes tucked in the script on her desk, all indicate that Mother previously suffered from depression. With so many emotions having nowhere to go, Mother could only write them all down. If Mother truly chose death herself, there's no need to think further about it. But I've always felt Father has problems, yet I can't remember past memories no matter what. At this moment backstage, here's the new script. Thanks to Lord Poseidon's storm, we gained several days for our performance. But these last-minute changes are driving the curly-haired woman to distraction. I went through so much trouble to prevent you from changing the story, yet His Highness the Crown Prince changed your mind with just one sentence. Does His Highness the Crown Prince have telepathy with you? Your thoughts are exactly the same. Evan, do you still remember what the Queen told you as a child? You truly have unwavering loyalty to Her Majesty. It turns out that when he was young, the Queen gave him this script. At that time, everyone on the island thought the Queen would gradually wither and lose vitality after entering the palace, because she seemed so forced, as if in imminent danger. But when thinking of what the Crown Prince said to him, Evan suddenly becomes confident. "You once cheered for my dreams. Now it's time for me to cheer for you." The highly anticipated play finally begins, with a completely overhauled ending. After discovering the mermaid princess's true identity, the prince abandons his throne to become a sailor. But before her identity was exposed, the mermaid princess gave up many precious things to learn various protocols and etiquette of the land. The witch who created legs for the mermaid princess took pity on her and persuaded the prince. The prince also realized his mistakes and ignorance, so the two abandoned everything and chose to be together forever. After watching the play, Leon still cannot recall his past life memories, and Father's expression appears stiff, as if something has happened. However, Mother still invites us backstage to meet the actors as usual. The curly-haired woman holds flowers, seemingly welcoming the Queen's arrival, but Evan beside her appears somewhat reserved. The performance was especially wonderful just now. I'd like to watch it again in the palace. Would that be possible? Evan blushes. Wherever you want to watch, we'll perform there, but seeing you enjoy it makes me so happy. I'm also honored to present this ending to you. Thank you for giving me such beautiful memories. But Leon, standing nearby, looked uneasy. After bidding them farewell, the theater festival also comes to an end. Time flies quickly. After dinner, Leon and the others climb the lighthouse. They'll leave this place tomorrow. The only place that could be called a cliff is here at the lighthouse. Can I only watch helplessly as Mother gets pushed off the cliff? Should I push both Father and Mother off now? Liz suddenly grabs Leon over. "Leon, come quickly to see the sunset." The Emperor walking ahead seems somewhat unhappy. "Your Majesty, are you still bothered by what I said earlier?" It turns out that while watching the play, the Queen quietly said to the King, "Your Majesty, if you could also abandon the throne, would I be happier than I am now? It seems you still dislike the palace. But I've never disliked you because of your status, Your Majesty. We've shared joys and sorrows and love each other deeply, but we haven't given each other the trust we deserve, have we? I've indeed had a difficult time, but how could this long life go smoothly in everything? I've ultimately overcome my weariness with life and stand here with you, haven't I? So lift your head. I thought you'd been resenting me all along. I knew you missed your homeland, but whenever I thought of how you suffered here after losing our child, I became afraid and didn't want you to return here. I truly wish I could also abandon all titles and pursue freedom with you." The Queen reaches up to touch the Emperor's face. "Your Majesty, do you know? Leon has learned to understand me and tries to comfort me. He was so cold to us before that I once wondered if he was really my son. The king smiles. Thinking about it carefully, it seems that boy made all this happen. That boy is just as you said. He suddenly grew up and matured. I'm too embarrassed to pat his head anymore. Leon sneaks a glance at father. He never expected he'd actually changed history. At this moment, Leon recalls his previous memories. In his past life, Mother also wanted to see the ocean, but because of his cold words, he pushed Mother toward death, and he could only watch helplessly as Mother died. A few days later, Father also left, leaving only him alone in the end. At that moment, Liz's clear eyes showed sympathy for me. I must never forget her face. But when love was added to this guilt, I began to forget the past version of her. Memories that shouldn't be forgotten were torn apart and forgotten. I hadn't yet found the reason for your sadness, only wanting to bear the pain you had endured in the past. I came here to give you more love, constantly searching for traces of you. But I was ultimately consumed by this pain. I'm sorry, Liz. I don't belong here. This alone is enough to remind me of the sins I once committed. In my previous life, after Father's death, due to not holding a coronation ceremony, various parties disputed my handling of government affairs. Moreover, Father left no last words. I was busy dealing with the mess Father left behind, but inadvertently saw Liz sitting alone by the window, taking a short rest. Due to the recent outbreak of war and domestic unrest, the Queen was also working tirelessly day and night, but I showed no reaction after seeing this. The next second, Leon slowly opens his eyes, awakening from the nightmare. A month has passed since returning from Mother's homeland. After the lighthouse incident, the past changed. We returned to the palace as if nothing had happened. My parents' death seemed as if they never existed, and only I changed. In the past, I couldn't become a sword saint, but this time I succeeded. A sword saint is a concentration of powerful beliefs or obsessions. However, the priests of the Espedal Empire aren't strong enough, so there are few believers and naturally no faith. The word obsession is more suitable for magicians and alchemists, but research on obsessions is also insufficient. Sword saints are such beings, yet I, who believe neither in magic nor gods, became a sword saint. Oh my, you're much more stable now than when you first released sword energy. Remember when you first manifested your aura, you nearly overturned the entire training ground. Later, I heard that the pirates were still alive in all 4 limbs when they were captured, which even Leon finds miraculous. Albert grins mischievously. This must be because of your love and faith in Miss Liz. Didn't you say when you first controlled sword energy that your heart calmed down when you saw Miss Liz? Leon's face turns red immediately. It was indeed because Liz looked at me with that expression. Leon, face flushed, throws a punch at Albert, but upon hearing that Liz has arrived, he instantly becomes composed and has Albert handle the cleanup. Liz runs over joyfully. Even Iz has come. They've been together for a month, yet Iz still greets them so formally. It's hard to imagine this boy will become my prime minister in the future, stubbornly holding to his ideas and bluntly criticizing me. My former confidant and the only friend I could talk to, Elysis. From the day we returned to the palace, Iz was promoted to future prime minister and studies with us. Speaking of which, how did I become close to Iz in the first place? It's truly worth pondering. By the way, where are you planning to go with all those things? Well, to find Lord Mimir. Oh right, since sword training has ended, Leon, you should come have tea with us too. Sure, but suddenly, a picture of Liz and his getting along in the previous life came to his mind. His pupils dilate in shock. I won't go. Father has urgent business with me. Liz stares at him blankly. Leon, you've been very busy since returning from the seaside, but there's no helping it. Don't push yourself too hard. After losing my memory at the lighthouse, my guilt toward past Liz has grown stronger. What right does someone like me have to love Liz? Every day I must repeatedly endure the torment of love and guilt several times. How absurd. I must constantly remember the grave sins I committed. That's what I think. But since this body is only 19 years old, it always acts in uncontrollable ways. Because the one who committed sins wasn't the current me, but the past me. But Liz's happiness is more important than my heart. After Liz becomes happy, I must pay the corresponding price. But what exactly is the received price the witch mentioned? I originally disliked magic precisely because its costs and practicality were unclear, but unknowingly, I began waiting for the price to arrive. Suddenly, Leon's head throbs. When did I stop feeling averse to going to the clock tower? The constantly surfacing memories have traumatized me. Blood flows uncontrollably from my nostrils. I don't want to recall my second humiliation. At this moment in the Empire's Great Hall, House Elysian requests an audience. His visit this time is to make amends for the errors at the welcome party and to serve His Majesty again. He also hopes His Majesty will announce Liz's official entry into high society at her birthday ball. Another purpose is to maintain the contract between the royal family and House Elysian. This contract's origins trace back to the Empire's founding period. The first queen came from the historically significant House Elysia. The Emperor and Queen's meeting was truly a match made in heaven, so both parties signed a contract to maintain friendly relations. However, as time passed, the contract was burned. House Elysia began to grow greedy. After the burned contract was partially restored, it formed a new contract, but the contract contents were modified again by the previous queen and current duke. The first clause states that when a new cycle arrives, children of the royal family and House Elysia must marry. When the marriage contract cannot be fulfilled, House Elysia's child shall assist the emperor. The second clause states that regardless of circumstances, when imperial power changes hands, the contract must be renewed. House Elysia and the royal family must maintain good, smooth communication. The cycle specified in the contract has arrived. The royal family should have married a lady from House Elysia as queen, but the current king married Freya, who wasn't from House Elysia. The marriage between the royal family and House Elysia became the crown prince's betrothal arrangement. The contract also contains a clause that has never been used and has faded from people's memory. But even if he knew about this clause, he couldn't use it immediately. Anyway, your betrothal arrangement exists because of this contract. Leon listened seriously to the emperor's words while thinking about other matters. I thought the nosebleed meant I had some serious illness, but it seems it's just memory confusion. After hearing the king's words, Leon recalls some previous memories. However, the past is changing. I should be worried, but with father here, everything seems to go smoothly. Father and son work together to make this ball a success. Unexpectedly, when the queen learns this news, her expression becomes both kind and terrifying. Your Majesty, say that again? The following scene feels somewhat familiar. The king straightens his clothes. Liz's ball won't invite House Elysian, nor will we let them help with anything. I've already discussed this with Duke Elysia, and surprisingly, he obediently complied. We'll soon know what he's plotting. You'll both eventually make your official debut in high society. So how you appear at this social ball is what we should focus on now. Due to that incident years ago, a question has circulated in high society. Do the crown prince and crown princess truly love each other? Liz clenches her hands beside them, showing that familiar signature smile again. I want to hold this ball. I want my parents to know I'm no longer who I used to be. The king and queen worry but still choose to support Liz's decision. After speaking, Liz quietly lowers her head. Leon notices her trembling hands. He wants to reach out and comfort Liz but then pulls his hand back. In the end, Liz proactively places her hand on his. Liz blushes slightly. I'm too nervous. May I hold your hand for a while? The discussion concludes here. The crown prince stays to help the king with government affairs. Liz and the queen go to the art room. In the art room, Liz asks the queen, how should I treat Leon? Your Majesty, didn't you say liking and loving are different? I love Leon, but Leon gives me a strange feeling. But in the queen's eyes, whether during vacation or now, I think you both love each other deeply. But thinking about it, you've had small quarrels but never big fights. When Leon was 8, his speech always lacked warmth. I worried that if he was so cold even to his parents, what would happen when he treated others this way as an adult? But he's indeed changed a lot since meeting you. If you want to know for certain, asking Leon directly would be fastest. But if you lack the courage to ask, you can think about it more. Feelings require careful handling. Rash actions might hurt both parties. Love differs from simple liking. Love makes your heart itch, makes you want to embrace the other person regardless of everything. That's how I felt when I saw Leon, but I was also very afraid then. More than that, I doubted Leon would hurt me. I wanted to know what exactly Leon liked about me. I also wanted to know how to define this relationship. If this truly is love, I don't know what to do. I hope Leon can teach me this time too. But at this moment, Leon continues studying books in the library. In the past, I reversed time before magic became widespread. But as time reversed, magic's widespread adoption advanced by 6 years. War became a ball, and the wedding became a coronation ceremony that was also moved up. Since I remember my previous exchanges with Aleph, I might as well analyze carefully based on memory so I can understand the witch's purpose. But when he lays everything out before him, blood suddenly gushes from his mouth. Even the king beside him is stunned. Every time I recall memories related to magic and the witch, the pain intensifies. Why is this? The witch suddenly appears behind Leon. What you should remember now isn't that, Your Majesty. You mustn't forget the purge operation you conducted in place of the previous emperor. You severed those people's heads, calming your disgust and anger. Countless memories surge through Leon's mind. Just as he's about to sink into that sinful quagmire, Liz suddenly appears like a descending angel. When Leon looks at this bright and cheerful Liz before him, continuing to deceive you is the best choice. Leon slowly walks forward and Liz takes his hand to lead him somewhere. But the king beside them breaks into a cold sweat. Is it really right for Leon to hide things from Liz like this? What did you talk about with Mother? You left in such a hurry. I can no longer seek forgiveness from her who has passed away. The current Liz knows nothing about my past. Right now, Liz has just begun to understand happiness. I cannot destroy it again. Even if the witch deliberately makes me remember the past and mocks my selfishness, since I've already reversed time, I must take responsibility for this. Before they know it, they've reached the ballroom. Liz suddenly turns and says, "Dance with me, Leon. There are only 4 weeks left until the ball. Don't you think practice time is a bit tight?" And the queen also told me, when uncertain, just hold hands. Leon suddenly trembles upon hearing this. Well, practicing alone is boring, so let's take turns. The two immediately begin practicing. Leon dances exceptionally well on his first try. There might be accidental injuries during the process, but the experience is very beautiful. Both enjoy themselves thoroughly. During their rest, they sit facing each other in chairs. Leon's legs can even reach Liz's side. Looking at it this way, Leon, you've grown quite tall. During vacation, I was still taller than you, but I'm still in my growth period after all. Liz thinks to herself, if I ask Leon what love is, he'll probably be startled again. Speaking of which, do you remember that story the history teacher told last time? But I think if the two people in the story didn't love each other, they couldn't have made those gestures. So that day, I went with is to find the story's second half. At the story's end, the husband went to the mountain where his wife lived and confessed again. Leon, what do you think love is? Whenever I think of my parents, my heart pounds. But when Liz looks at Leon, she notices that since returning from the seaside, Leon sometimes suddenly wants to hide his feelings, although the queen said I should know. Seeing Leon's face, I still lack courage. So although I want to know Leon's thoughts, I also want to maintain the status quo. Even without saying anything, Leon is always so gentle, and our relationship is always so regular. If Leon feels the same way, he'll tell me someday. The two dance barefoot on the floor. Liz slowly steps on Leon's foot. Even though the floor below is ice cold, it cannot stop Leon's fiery passion. As rustling sounds arrive, Leon and Liz dance gracefully in the Great Hall. Unexpectedly, as soon as Liz speaks, she reminds Leon of the past, the woman who stretched her neck and cursed furiously before him. A flash of blade light passes. Leon suddenly awakens from his dream. Cold sweat has soaked his clothes. I don't know when I stopped hiding my sword under the pillow. And when did my memories of the past begin disappearing bit by bit? I know I have no right to love Liz, but this body loves her so intensely. What should I do now? In the Empire's imperial city, the king continues investigating House Elysia. But since his last return, everything has been very quiet. Viscount Arnaud is also teaching his disciple the technology of magical timepieces. Things seem to be going smoothly. News that time has begun flowing in the royal clock tower will surely become a thorn in those nobles' eyes. Most nobles believe traditional commercial technology is safer and more convenient. They've improved their status by providing conveniences to nobles through technological monopolies, and surely want to compete with the royal family. As long as I live, the Empire's throne won't be threatened, but making Leon Hurd sit on a secure throne is still difficult. On the other hand, the tailor is helping Liz design clothes. She looks quite tired, but the seamstress still selects 3 designs from her sketches for Liz to choose from. All 3 designs are beautiful, leaving Liz dazzled. But Liz still worries. Is it really possible to go to my first social ball without a corset and high heels? The seamstress notices her concern and prepares a catalog for her. It filled with comfortable yet elegant dresses, all of which represent the latest imperial fashion trends. If we trace their origins, it was actually Her Majesty the Empress and you, Miss Liz, who changed these fashion trends. Although many young ladies still wear high-heeled shoes, I have a humble suggestion. Why not use this ball as an opportunity to popularize low-heeled shoes? Also, would you like to go out and see what the young ladies in the imperial capital are wearing? You could also visit my workshop. Liz's heart races with excitement upon hearing this. The streets of the imperial capital bustle with activity. Why have I never thought of coming out here before? Watching the bustling crowds gives me a sense of freedom. Yet it feels different from my previous seaside vacation. At that moment, 2 people approach them. The seamstress indicates that those 2 are lovers. Upon hearing this word, Liz's face turns red, and she immediately thinks of herself and Leon. Leon looks at me with such gentle eyes, and I feel comfortable being with Leon, but he has never caressed me like that. Do people express their love through such gestures? I've heard that love requires this kind of emotional exchange, but why doesn't Leon do these things to me? Arriving at the seamstress's workshop, Liz sits properly in the center of the room. The more I think about it, the more I realize I know too little about Leon, and there are many things I want to confirm with him. Unexpectedly, Liz suddenly becomes shy. I clearly came to look at dresses, so why do I keep thinking about Leon? At that moment, the workshop door suddenly opens, and in walks an absolutely stunning beauty. Liz cannot help but exclaim upon seeing her so beautiful, but suddenly, a crisp sound reaches her ears. The girl beside the beauty has fallen down, yet the blonde woman shows no intention of helping her up. Liz suddenly rushes to the fallen girl's side. Are you all right? Liz's actions startled everyone involved. Speaking of which, where has the workshop owner gone? How is there still no sign of anyone? The fallen girl stands up and bows to thank Liz. The shoe heels were too high, and I accidentally stepped wrong. Just then, the seamstress rushes over carrying a large pile of items. At this very moment, Liz seems to understand something. I've decided to follow your advice and wear low-heeled shoes. I want others to enjoy the same freedom I experience. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Hall, Leon catches Ulysses wandering alone in the Great Hall. Leon calls him over. Come play a game of chess with me first. The room immediately fills with the sound of chess pieces colliding. As Ulysses places down the final piece, it appears that Ulysses has won again. However, he quickly notices something unusual. Your Highness, your knight was clearly not at a disadvantage, yet you didn't use it at all. Why did you deliberately lose to me? Upon hearing his words, Leon's lips curve slightly upward. What, do you think I was deliberately letting you win? Although Ulysses has a somewhat weak personality that isn't quite suitable for a prime minister, he overcame his frail body and weak character through his thirst for knowledge to achieve success. That's why I could rely on you in the past, and I want to rely on you again this time, Ulysses. Hearing these words, Ulysses extends his hand. I haven't yet become prime minister, yet you regard me so highly, and you even deliberately gave me time to think through this chess game. I will become prime minister, so following your highness's commands is both my duty and my choice. You truly are excellent, understanding my intentions so easily. And honestly, you will definitely be an outstanding prime minister in the future. After saying this, Leon takes out the contract document. What do you think would be needed to nullify this contract? But isn't this something His Majesty the Emperor wants to resolve? After carefully examining the contract, Ulysses thinks of two methods to destroy it: simply and brutally using imperial power to suppress them, or finding loopholes in the contract to render House Elysian's unequal agreement ineffective. However, regarding the former approach, the previous forcible act of bringing Miss Liz to the palace for upbringing caused considerable controversy, greatly diminishing the royal family's standing. His Majesty the Emperor, being a sage ruler, strives to balance various factions' interests. On this point, he would be impossible to persuade again. Ulysses speaks at length about related matters, leaving Leon completely bewildered. Suddenly, Ulysses seems to realize something and switches into his passive rabbit mode. Fortunately, Leon had grown accustomed to this in his previous life. After comforting him, they return to the main topic. Ulysses suddenly calls out to Leon, "Haven't you told Miss Liz about the contract yet?" After receiving Leon's negative response, Ulysses becomes flustered. His hand trembles, and he actually pulls out some of Leon's hair. Then, with a thud, he kneels before Leon, saying, "I hope your Highness and Miss Liz will discuss the contract matter together. I have known Miss Liz for only a month, far less than the time you two have spent together, but the young lady I know is full of curiosity, and she feels accomplished after solving problems herself. I believe His Highness the Crown Prince already knows this. I also don't think Miss Liz would be as fragile as your Highness worries. Don't you think your protection of Miss Liz is somewhat excessive?" Upon hearing this, Leon turns his head away. "Thank you for your honest counsel. I have high expectations for your future. I won't punish you either." After saying this, Leon turns and leaves, but Ulysses' words keep repeating in Leon's mind. "I deliberately pretended not to know, because I feared Liz would become unhappy after learning about it." Leon's head begins to ache again. Past words Liz spoke to him flash through his mind. "I keep warning myself not to be greedy, to focus on doing what I should do. Although I want to possess Liz, I cannot forget my responsibilities." Various thoughts flash through Leon's mind, yet he encounters Liz at a corner. Liz appears delighted. "I was just looking for you." But she notices Leon's face is abnormally flushed. Liz is puzzled. "Leon, what's wrong?" Leon shows that expression again. Just as Liz looks worried and continues to inquire, Leon suddenly shouts, "I said nothing's wrong!" Looking at Leon's face now, Liz has a sense of familiarity. As Leon releases his hand, Liz falls into memory. "Leon, you probably don't remember the day I first came to the palace. That day, I experienced a mixture of emotions: shyness, warmth, peace, and more. On my first night away from my parents in the palace, the goodnight kiss was completely different from the strict and frightening image my mother had described. It was both warm and gentle, bringing tears to my eyes. It was also the first time I learned that I could live so peacefully in a place without my parents. The second emotion I learned was anger and stubbornness. That was the first time I lost my temper with Leon. I broke the flowers I was supposed to give to Sir Byrne. But no matter what trouble I caused or how angry I became, Leon would always say it was all right. When I learned to understand and express my emotions, Leon learned how to hide his own emotions. He shows that expression that makes the observer feel even more pain, which reminds me of how I used to smile and apologize to my mother who hurt me." Listening to her words, Ulysses can only hand her a cup of coffee to help her calm down. "Ulysses, were you and he just discussing matters here?" "Yes, but His Highness left midway through our conversation." "Miss Liz, didn't your conversation go well?" Just now, Leon actually used that expression on me, as if there's a high wall standing between us, telling me not to interfere with you, not to meddle in your affairs. I hope Leon can also rely on me. Is this so difficult? Leon, your apologies always leave me speechless. Every time this happens, I feel like you saying you like me is all a lie. After saying this, Liz turns and leaves. I shouldn't have run away like that. Yes, even if the contract matter is indeed shocking to everyone. What contract? Only then does Ulysses realize he has let something slip, but when he tries to cover his mouth, it's already too late. Liz lowers her head slightly. "Are you willing to tell me the truth?" Ulysses has no choice but to tell Liz everything about the contract. "His Highness was very worried that you would suffer after learning about your family's affairs. I already had vague memories of a contract. The world calls me an angel's descendant, believing I have only the appearance of an angel but a heart as ugly as my parents. Regardless of which interpretation, I initially cared very much, but later I thought about it and realized these were just rumors, so I stopped caring. But Leon also always thinks I'm merely obedient and kind, whereas the person who looked at me with different eyes from others was the Leon I fell in love with. However, Ulysses, I have something I want to ask you. What do you think love is?" Unexpectedly, Ulysses' face turns red upon hearing this. Liz looks at him expectantly. "Although I haven't experienced it myself, based on the romantic experiences my father and people around me have shared, love is like a flour sack about to explode. My father once said that people in love have hearts full of feelings, just like flour. Our actions are like horse carts carrying flour sacks. Depending on our different actions, the flour sack might explode, or it might not. So I think that sense of tension is probably what love is. I know why I used to like Leon, but now I'm a bit uncertain, which is why I asked you. But with today's situation, I find it very difficult to distinguish." Unexpectedly, after Liz finishes speaking, Leon appears before her. Seeing Leon's incredulous expression, Liz realizes he has misunderstood her words. But when Liz runs toward him, it's already too late. She stands there in a daze. I should never have said such things from the beginning. Ulysses beside her is extremely anxious. Go chase after him, Liz. Forgive my boldness, but I think you two need to have a proper conversation. His Highness loves you too, but he seems to be hesitating, so hurry and chase after him. On Leon's side, he feels as if his heart is about to explode. I thought I could manage without showing any flaws, but in the end, I was still wrong. Outside, dark clouds gather. The season of unpredictable weather has arrived. The cold, damp air moistens the sultry ground. The cold, damp air brushing against his face seems ready to carry him far away. Leon holds his head in his hands. If I could read Liz's diary again, I could relive the feelings I had when I first read it. In the end, whether in the past or now, I have hurt Liz. I had already prepared myself to be hated, but why do I still have such thoughts? I should never have done this from the beginning. I was too greedy. Speaking of which, why did the witch help me reverse time? Do I really have such qualifications? As time passes, Liz also finds Leon. If this is the hell I willingly threw myself into, if this pain is my price, then what price did you bear to stay by my side? Liz grabs Leon's hand. I heard about the contract. Why did you hide it from me? We could discuss this matter together and find a solution together. Upon hearing this, Leon again says that long absent, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Liz. Even if the contract is destroyed, I will work hard to ensure you don't suffer any harm. Regarding the harm you suffered from the arranged engagement, I apologize on behalf of Father Emperor. If you want to cancel the engagement ceremony and social ball, I will do my best to help you achieve all of this. I will definitely not let you experience any painful events in the palace. But upon hearing this, Liz begins trembling all over. I have never had any dissatisfaction with the arranged engagement. The engagement ceremony and social ball were both my choices. Even if they weren't my choices, I agreed because I could accept them. Whether it's the engagement ceremony or living in the palace, I can accept it all. I don't want to miss even a minute or second of the time spent with you, Leon. Leon shows that expression again. Liz, you're too kind, always thinking of others. I don't want to see you force yourself to make choices because of others anymore. So you don't need to force yourself to think about whether you like me or love me. If you want to leave the palace, then leave. Be free. Unexpectedly, Liz suddenly grabs his shoulders. Leon, do you love me? But upon hearing this, he shows that expression again. Seeing this makes Liz tremble all over. How could that possibly be the expression of someone who loves another? After saying this, Liz runs outside in pain. Leon hurriedly chases after her. You don't even like me, so why are you following me? I really don't understand what kind of feelings you have for me, Leon. Do you like me or hate me? Or do you have no feelings at all, which is why you can't answer me? I always thought we liked each other, but how should I understand this current situation? Liz turns around and shouts loudly, I'm not obedient and kind at all. Every time you want to change the subject, Leon, I get really angry and heartbroken. Why do you always say sorry to me? Have you committed some crime against me? So what exactly are you hesitating about? Now I don't even know why I would like you anymore. Leon silently lowers his head. My existence makes you so miserable. It would be better if you just hated me. That way you wouldn't show such a miserable expression. At this moment, Leon suddenly kneels down. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. It's fine if you hate me. Upon hearing this, Liz looks pained. You want me to hate you? Is that your answer? But in Leon's heart, he never actually wanted her to hate him. I still remember that day when you looked at my blood-covered feet with that expression, as if you didn't want to give up on something that was about to break. Looking at Leon's expression, Liz suddenly reaches out and pushes him down. Why do you look at me with that expression? They say you can know someone's inner thoughts by looking at their face. Clearly, I'm the one losing something, so why do you, Leon, show the expression of someone who has lost something precious? At this moment, Leon's heart feels incredibly heavy. If I sort out these feelings and then indulge in them, I fear I might choke up. I never expected this love born from guilt to receive such a pure response, but this has become an even heavier sin, weighing deeply on my heart. You and I are like the little figures in a music box, regularly rotating around each other before returning to our original positions. Once the music box breaks and the music no longer plays, the little figures in the music box will stop in place, with their backs to each other. Liz suddenly speaks. Leon, you just said I could also break off the engagement and leave the palace, right? But would that make you happy? You see, in the end, neither of us knows what happiness and love truly are. Then, Crown Prince Leon Hart, I want to cancel the arranged engagement and engagement ceremony. Leon grabs Liz's hand. It's all my fault, so please, don't do this, Liz. But there's no other way besides this. You should understand this clearly, Leon. Moreover, this matter doesn't only concern me. If I don't step forward, then even that child will continue to suffer in the ducal mansion. But Liz's words remind Leon of the past. Liz has made the same choice as before. Soon, rumors begin spreading both inside and outside the palace that the royal family will officially announce the dissolution of the engagement at the ball. Several days later, I hear news that Liz held back her tears in Mother Empress's arms. Since that day, everything continues as usual. The invitations that have already been sent out are not easy to recall one by one, and the ball preparations are in full swing. When we no longer deliberately seek each other out, we discover that opportunities to meet are extremely rare. The time once spent eagerly seeking each other is now occupied by trivial personal matters. In Leon's room, Leon is puzzled. He clearly called for a doctor, so why has a whole group of people suddenly arrived? Even you came, Mimir. Mimi said your symptoms are very similar to Mimir. I heard you previously made some transaction related to magic. What reckless deal did you two make? Don't think of deceiving me again by saying nothing's wrong. You've already secretly called a doctor to your bedroom. Do you think I wouldn't know when your condition doesn't improve after treatment? Mimir beside them suddenly speaks. I heard your highness also coughed up blood. Leon nods. And after arguing with Liz, the headaches became even more severe. Based on currently known information, our preliminary judgment is that this should be the price for retrieving Liz's soul from the clock tower's rift. Using a soul as payment is actually like death. You never know when it will come. After His Highness the Crown Prince and my soul sizes changed, the price changed accordingly. We have studied the clock tower for a long time and have found related cases of how price changes affect the body and mind. And based on this, we have created treatment medications. Mimir is probably a strong candidate to be the next clock tower master, so she bore the price on my behalf. Moreover, His Highness the Crown Prince has also awakened as a sword saint, so your body has conducted self-healing to a certain extent? Mimir looks indignant. Please hurry and make up with Liz. I can't even meet with her often now. On the other side, in a dim room, Liz sits properly in the center of the space. She has stayed up several nights in a row, just to resolve the contract matter. Although Liz doesn't know whether this choice is correct, it's not something I can do as I please. After I destroy my family's reputation, the royal family will be safe, and conflicts with the nobility can be somewhat eased. Although she still has concerns, these are the choices she has made. As the pen continues moving across the paper, tears also flow down Liz's face. But in another part of the room, Leon also hopes the ball won't begin. Unexpectedly, Bailey suddenly approaches. Why aren't you in Liz's room but came to mine instead? Speaking of which, after you and Liz became close, you never came looking for me. But seeing his old friend suddenly, tears flow from Leon's eyes. What should I do? I clearly promised I would make her happy. Time flies, and the ball arrives as scheduled. Liz puts on flat shoes and pairs them with the outfit the seamstress coordinated. The beauty moves the servants to tears. The seamstress beside her suddenly sighs. That fragile little miss from childhood has suddenly grown so much. Liz takes a deep breath. I will complete this task perfectly. After all, this is the path I chose to walk. Seeing Liz's entrance, everyone immediately begins discussing among themselves. The question of whether Liz can dissolve the engagement instantly fills the entire hall. They probably feared exposing their relationship problems in public, so they decided to break off the engagement early. His Majesty the Emperor is merely accommodating these children's love games. As Leon takes Liz's hand, Liz also senses something is wrong. Leon's hand is also trembling continuously. I acted too hastily. But once the contract matter is resolved, everything will improve. Unexpectedly, the next second, the young Duke Elysian enters as an honored guest. Immediately, commotion spreads below. So the rumors about House Elysian secretly raising a child were true. The crowd's gossip instantly engulfs Liz. Liz even becomes confused herself. Why must I stand here accepting everyone's mockery and ridicule? Just because my surname is Elysian, just because I'm an angel's descendant. Several days earlier, in the kingdom's great court, the king had already commissioned an investigation into House Elysian. They say the orphanage they sponsor secretly houses their own child. Because some of the instructed knights fled, we couldn't determine why House Elysian wanted to hide the child. Moreover, House Visconti's tutor serves as that child's exclusive teacher. Additionally, that child is said to have talent in swordsmanship. The king considers this. They're being so quiet this time, completely unlike their usual style. If Duke Visconti harbors ill intentions and wants to use Duke Elysian to incite rebellion, then this is a perfect opportunity to test Leon Hart's abilities. If he can ruin this ball, then we can take the opportunity to hold Duke Elysian accountable. After Liz learns she has a younger brother, she is genuinely surprised. Now I know just how ugly my family truly is. If I had always stayed at the ducal mansion, perhaps one day my parents would have used me just as casually. She suddenly remembers the Empress's words. Go ahead and cry. You don't need to hold it in. A gun is for self-protection, not for harming yourself. The moment before pulling the trigger is often the most frightening. You have the gun and the target, and the next step is to shoot at the target. Liz finally meets her own younger brother, but his words are so sarcastic and harsh, showing no respect for his sister. Unexpectedly, Leon suddenly appears, blocking her way. The young Duke also instantly changes his tone. At this moment, Liz's mind fills with the Empress's words. Her eyes suddenly fill with confidence. Then I won't give up on the royal family. Liz suddenly steps forward boldly, pushing the young Duke aside. Unknowingly, the warm season has passed, and the season of howling cold winds has arrived. Although the cold wind at this moment has blown away flowers and withered trees, the 4 seasons will always cycle. I believe that after winter passes, spring will bring warmth and blooming flowers. Just like my relationship with His Highness the Crown Prince, I am no longer a member of House Elysian. So I hope that not only today, but in the future, everyone will address me as Crown Princess rather than Miss Elysian. Upon hearing this, the young Duke shows a sinister expression. Blinded by the royal family's brilliance, abandoning your family to rush toward the royal family, how truly foolish you are. Pretending to be innocent, let's see how long you can maintain that position. Your final fate will surely be the most miserable in this world. Speaking of which, this young lady is truly peculiar. After severing ties with her own family, she can still smile so happily. As the ball begins, Leon and Liz have already taken their positions. Unexpectedly, Mimir and Alyssa's nearby have actually paired up. That boy looks like he has no idea how to dance. But as they speak, both their faces turn red. Speaking of which, since that day, today is the first time we've talked. But why did you suddenly change your mind? Unexpectedly, Liz answers with a bright smile. Didn't you always say I should do whatever I want? What I just did is what I wanted to do. Leon's heart aches sharply. Looking at Liz's face, his heart begins beating rapidly. Leon suddenly realizes that compared to his guilt toward Liz, his love for Liz runs much deeper. Thinking of this, Leon's face suddenly turns red. He feels a bit shy, and then tells Liz he has something to say to her. At this moment, the first opening dance ends. Leon can only ask Liz to wait for him a little longer. Then he solemnly thanks her, thanking her for choosing him once again. Liz suddenly realizes that no matter whether she and Leon argue, have misunderstandings, or their relationship becomes awkward, before long, they return to normal as if nothing happened. She can be certain that she and Leon like each other. So for her future with Leon and for herself, Liz wants everyone present to focus their attention on her. Although everyone's gazes are not friendly, especially some young ladies. At this moment, two noble ladies suddenly call out to Liz. What shocks Liz is that these two come from families with poor relations, yet they are dance partners. One of the ladies suddenly speaks. In the rumors, the poor relationship between our two families should be no less severe than that between the royal family and House Elysian. But what does that have to do with us? There's no need to worry about these family interests. Moreover, we simply want to get along well with Miss Liz. Liz swallows. These two ladies' families are among the most prestigious in social circles. Compared to someone like me who has just entered society, these two are the true influential figures of the social world. But why would they want to help me? Now that I've left my family and decided to remain with the royal family, House Visconti is even less likely to show me favor. However, they have one thing in common. They both oppose the popularization of magic. Although they say they won't interfere in family conflicts, other observers will think the same way. However, consistently keeping others at arm's length isn't a solution either. Then I thank both ladies for your kindness. I also have gifts to present to all the ladies. Please decide whether to help me after seeing the gifts. After saying this, Liz turns and leaves. The white-haired woman quietly remarks, she has courage, truly worthy of someone who publicly severed family ties, quite ruthless. Next comes the free dance time. Some noble ladies are in such pain they can barely stand. Liz shouts loudly, bring them all over! I imagine when you all received the invitations and saw the dress code and additional requirements, you were all quite surprised. Someone has probably already guessed it. This is a small gift I prepared for everyone. You may choose to wear them, choose not to wear them, or take them home. From now on, I will wait for everyone to make choices according to their own thoughts. The blonde woman understands that for some people these shoes are gifts from the crown princess, but in others' eyes, they're merely futile struggles by someone without status. In other words, she wants to see with her own eyes who will choose to stand on her side as the future queen. These low-heeled shoes have basically the same design, but different decorations have been added according to each lady's preferences. The blonde woman smiles slightly. I really like this gift. The number of ladies who put on the shoes isn't large. More than half the ladies only changed their minds after seeing Miss Visconti and Miss Milan change theirs. Thanks to Liz arranging more doctors than usual in the dressing room, many ladies who were injured while dancing were moved by this gesture. By halftime, many people are looking at Liz with envious gazes. Moreover, the servants have already recorded all the ladies who changed into the shoes. However, the pleasant atmosphere does not last long. A young lady appears with a mischievous smile and asks, Miss Elysian, has His Royal Highness ever mentioned what he likes about you? The blonde woman Visconti beside her feels that the question is somewhat inappropriate. But Liz responds with a smile, this is rather embarrassing to say. Although my nature is not as kind as that of an angel's descendant, His Royal Highness once whispered to me that he loves me not because of my appearance or character, but because he loves me as a person. Also, please call me Miss Liz, not Miss Elysian, since my character is not like that of Elysian. Liz's response leaves her questioner speechless. By the way, I heard that Miss Baron Cologne's family business involves selling various types of hats. My tailor master Dorothea wants to add hat elements to her new project. If you collaborate with Dorothea, the Cologne family would have the opportunity to sell products to the royal family or export them overseas. During their conversation, another young lady voluntarily joins them. The lady who had just mocked Liz now trembles with fear. Miss Liz actually repays evil with kindness, showing no grudge. Seeing this scene, other ladies also join in one after another. The noble ladies chat enthusiastically. It seems Miss Liz handles this very well. She must be quite free to accomplish all this, just like the former queen. Liz has achieved so much, yet I still do not know enough about her. Moreover, I hear that the prototype of the magic timepiece has been successfully completed. The future development of the empire is truly exciting. However, just as he finishes speaking, an unexpected guest arrives. Seeing the newcomer, Leon's expression grows serious. An unexpected guest has arrived. Your Royal Highness, your words are quite hurtful. Speaking of which, when did these people become so fond of the royal clock tower? Those people hiding behind the royal family, burying their heads in research day and night, are just lucky to have succeeded once? Leon smiles slightly. Young Duke Elysian, I see you are jealous. If you want to win over these people so badly, you can have them all. To form factions so blatantly in front of me is exactly like your father. Your Royal Highness's eloquence is just as rumored. With just a few words, you have a group of people cheering for you. If you envy that, why not ask the late Emperor to arrange a throne for you too? The young Duke smiles slightly. I will pass on that. Exposing my greed here would certainly earn me a beating from the Duke. Besides, such a filthy position. I would not want it even if offered. Leon is stunned by his words. Young Duke Alishan must be a demon wearing an angel's guise. How does he speak so sharply with every sentence? I had thought he would be like his father. This attitude does not seem similar at all. However, as Leon thinks about this, he suddenly feels dizzy and his body begins to ache continuously. What are these memories? I feel like I have seen them somewhere before. In the past, Liz clearly only had a sister. Did I kill everyone? Visconti beside Liz suddenly notices the Crown Prince. Where is His Royal Highness planning to go alone? His condition looks somewhat strange, and Miss Liz seems unaware of this. Coming outside, Leon sits directly on the grass. I know that even erasing memories cannot erase the sense of guilt. But what is this feeling of disgust welling up from the bottom of my heart? Why do I have such feelings toward Liz? Do I really detest Liz? Leon's heart suddenly skips a beat. It turns out what I detest is not Liz, but myself for committing crimes against her. I clearly took the medicine Mimir gave me, but the pain is still unbearable. Leon's hand trembles as he reaches for the medicine. He silently prays in his heart not to faint. However, the next second he collapses to the ground. If I am going to die, I hope no one sees it. Dying quietly without troubling anyone would be my best way of atonement. Suddenly, Leon recalls scenes from the past. In his previous life, Visconti held a knife in her hand. She cornered Liz against the wall, just as Liz was about to end it all. The royal guards suddenly arrived to stop everything. Leon, who arrived with the guards, said coldly, "Did I not tell you that I do not want you in my harem? I told you to leave. Your family is arrogant and looks down on others. I thought if I spoke more tactfully, you would understand." After saying this, Leon approached Liz and crouched down. "How can you not even protect yourself, being brought to such a place?" Just as Leon was about to comfort her, Liz patted her chest and said, "I am fine. You need not concern yourself with my life or death. Simply standing by and watching is sufficient." In the hall, Liz chats happily with the noble ladies, not yet noticing Leon's abnormal condition. Visconti beside her suddenly speaks up. "Although chatting and laughing is quite pleasant, is it not somewhat impolite to just sit here doing nothing? I would like to invite you to walk in the courtyard outside. Do I have this honor?" The two come outside. Visconti suddenly says she has something to attend to and must leave. Liz senses that this lady has deeper intentions. Just as she prepares to leave, she hears a strange sound, like groaning when ill. She walks toward the source of the sound and discovers Leon lying on the ground in pain. How could Leon be in such a place? This reminds Liz of what happened at the seaside before. She runs forward anxiously. Just as she panics, she notices the small medicine bottle gripped in Leon's hand. But Liz's hands shake so much she cannot use her strength properly. She pours the medicine into her own mouth. "Leon, do not be afraid. You will get better soon." The medicine gurgles as it goes down. Leon's senses begin to return, and everything feels like a dream. Although I know someone has been protecting and caring for me all along, I feel that none of this belongs to me. Under Liz's continuous calling, Leon suddenly opens his eyes. However, the first thing he does upon awakening is push Liz away. "I am sorry for letting you see me like this again." Liz holds back tears. "Why do you always act this way?" Just as Liz turns to leave to call Sister Mimir, countless memories flash through Leon's mind. "Before I miss you even more, before I regret even more, I still want to be with you." Leon suddenly turns around and grabs Liz's hand. "Can you please not leave? Stay by my side." Leon's contradictory behavior makes Liz even more curious. Sometimes he seems to be passively waiting for death, other times he seems to be falling in love. Just as Liz looks puzzled, Leon's sudden words startle her. "I dreamed that you died." Then he reacts, "But these are just absurd words." Liz is shocked. "Please tell me. I want to hear." "In the dream, I was indifferent to you, treating you as if you were invisible. When you smiled, I found it eerie. Even so, you did not hate me. So I hated you even more. In the end, I allowed your death to happen. I was afraid you would hate me, so I wanted to run away. I am too useless." "Why do you have such dreams? When did they start?" "Leon, is this related to your illness?" "This is the first time I hear about your dreams. But regarding the medicine, I heard about it from Sister Mimir. So I've been waiting for you to tell me yourself, Leon. I heard it is related to my falling into the clock tower crevice. Did you start having these dreams from that time?" Leon silently lowers his head. "I did not tell you because I was afraid you would blame yourself. Because I was afraid I would have to deceive you with another lie. I can tell you with certainty that I have never regretted making that deal. Because I want to give you everything you desire. This has never changed. That is not your fault, Leon. You made the deal for my sake. So forget all of this. Even if we had a bad relationship in your dreams, we are not like that in reality. After hearing Liz's words, Leon's body begins to ache continuously again. Tears slide down from the corners of his eyes. Accompanied by pain, Leon also collapses into Liz's embrace. Leon cries uncontrollably in distress. Whether in the past or present, Liz always easily abandons herself for the sake of his thoughts, but he cannot guarantee that he can make Liz happy. He also cannot guarantee that he can forget the Liz of the past. Leon clearly knows he will not become a sage ruler. He might even become a target for attacks both inside and outside the palace and face mortal danger. If Liz marries him, she might live worse than a palace maid. Liz speaks slowly, so what? If your highness does not dislike me but is only afraid these things will happen, then we just need to try our best to avoid them, right? Liz does not understand. Is Leon you now giving me an order to leave, wanting me to return to the Elysian ducal manor? Being accused of such a grave matter, Leon panics and hurriedly explains that this is not what he means. Liz cups the man's face, speaking each word clearly and forcefully. In her view, rather than being unhappy at the Elysian ducal manor, she would rather be unhappy in the palace. Rather than being oppressed by her parents, she would rather argue with Leon every day. From the day she entered the royal family, she had already prepared herself to experience these things. From the day Leon confessed to her, she had prepared herself to fight side by side with him. But why does you now have only negative and pessimistic thoughts? Are you afraid I will become as unhappy as in your dreams? Leon nods fearfully. Liz swears to him, I do not believe at all that you will make me unhappy, Leon. I hope you can make me happy and I will make you happy too. Liz raises her slightly shy face and asks Leon softly, do you love me, Leon? Leon chokes up a bit and nods reassuringly, I love you. The more I distrust myself, the more uneasy I feel in my heart, the more I love you. The two embrace each other tightly. Liz tells him, if you do not believe in yourself, then believe in me. Then the girl gently kisses Leon on the lips. These words completely heal Leon. What he seeks now is no longer to make Liz happy before his death, but to live and experience life together with her. Although those feelings of guilt will likely accompany him for life, Liz's words make him understand that he sincerely wants to make Liz happy. He also feels his youthful soul has far surpassed his aged soul. Unknowingly, he becomes completely occupied by his youthful soul, becoming a completely new self who only possesses memories of the past. He swears that he will definitely make Liz happy. Moreover, he wants to become happy together with his beloved. The diary in his memory flips to a certain page, where a girl's childish handwriting expresses expectations about happiness. The memories gradually fade with the kiss, until he can no longer see letters. Having understood all this, Leon, tears streaming down his face, cradles the girl's face and kisses her deeply once more. All along, there have been two selves in his subconscious, one from the past and one from the present. And all along, the past self has dominated his consciousness, causing him to make many mistakes with Liz. Now he can finally point his sword at that other self. I am the true owner of this body. The one who gets excited seeing Liz, the one who thinks only of Liz, that is me. And that past self is nothing but a coward with guilt who dares not face it. He firmly believes that his present self is different from the past, although now there are only scattered memory fragments, jumbled together in his mind. Even memories unrelated to happiness with Liz are gradually fading. Now he can only rely on the remaining sensations in his body to speculate. If even these memories disappear, meaning the death of his soul, perhaps this is his price to pay. But none of this matters anymore. He now only wants to turn Liz's happiness into happiness for both of them. After the kiss ends, both experience their first kiss. Liz cannot help but admire Leon's kissing technique. Then she immediately realizes, what is she thinking about? Leon holds Liz's hands and asks if she remembers what she said at the welcome party. You said I am yours. Saying this, Leon kisses deeply into the girl's palm. Liz hurriedly explains that she said that because she was afraid Leon would force himself alone. Leon expresses that he will absolutely never worry her again in the future. He also says, you can do whatever you want, whether it is my body or my heart. I give everything to you. However, Liz, you need to promise me one thing. Are you willing to accept my love? I am willing to accept everything. Meanwhile, in the hall, Is sits alone at the table, but gets startled by Mimir, who suddenly appears. Mimir couldn't help but laugh. Not only poor with romance, but also easily frightened. How did such a person become the future chancellor? Mimir kindly reminds him that no matter what, he should not intervene in their relationship anymore. The two of them are destined to be colored by each other. If other colors are mixed in, the situation will become very troublesome. Mimir does not know whether she has seen the past or foreseen the future. She only knows that a mana stronger than what she herself possesses is growing within her body, so she can see some things she does not want to see and cannot understand. That feeling is not pleasant, so do not casually intervene between them. Mimir reminds the man that in the end, only you will get hurt. Saying this, she wants to lean in for a kiss. Besides, are you not satisfied having just me? Is hurriedly says this is not what he means. The social ball continues for 3 days. On the first day, Leon and Liz, as crown prince and crown princess, make their statement and both leave the ball early. This becomes a topic of conversation for the guests during the remaining 2 days of the banquet. Another topic of conversation is little Duke Elysian, who left after appearing on the first day. He and Miss Visconti entered together as dance partners, which was actually just for show, to announce that the Visconti family had already joined forces with the Elysian family. Here, Mariniere Academy, directly affiliated with the Visconti family, officially acquired the orphanage sponsored and managed by the Elysian family. Children from the orphanage can directly receive admission recommendation letters to Mariniere Academy. Since the Viscountess family rarely engages in such sponsorship, this causes heated public discussion. After the social ball ends, Leon and Liz begin working together to resolve the contract issue. No one could have imagined that the former queen would have had illicit relations with foreigners and modified the contract with Duke Elysian, committing various evil acts. Father personally killed the former queen for this and destroyed all records related to her. Leon is now busy investigating the truth to the point of exhaustion. But after observing for a week, he gains nothing. He really cannot understand why Father destroyed all records of the former queen. Leon recalls his father's words. To further understand the contract, he must find someone who knew the former queen. Regarding the act of killing the queen, the emperor told him this is a trial that someone in his position must experience. Leon must also experience this trial. The more he thinks, the more confused his thoughts become. The urgent matter is to investigate how little Duke Elysian learned that he would break the contract. Just then, Leon notices the book Liz is reading. He leans over, takes the book in his hands, and looks at it. It's a book about Mother's family. Leon flips through it. He suddenly remembers that during their seaside vacation, he seemed to have seen something in Mother's room. Found it. It is this woman called Baroness Bane. I wonder if she is still alive. Liz adds that this lady once personally taught the queen etiquette. Liz also says this lady is the only person besides the royal family and Duke Elysian who knew the former queen. Leon closes the book and immediately orders IES to investigate this person's whereabouts. Even if his past memories have disappeared, his goal of doing everything possible to make Liz happy will not change. If the witch's price is his death, he will absolutely not let this happen. However, is somewhat disagrees with Leon's order. He scolds the crown prince about other accumulated work. The knight investiture ceremony is in 3 months. His Royal Highness, as the future ruler of the nation, has made no preparations whatsoever. Leon says guiltily that with the emperor and ES present, these matters can be handled later. However, ES does not buy this approach at all and refutes Leon in a businesslike manner. His Majesty said he wanted me to help your Highness handle affairs. Moreover, His Majesty and Her Majesty have been extremely busy recently with national affairs and the popularization of royal timepieces, which is why they entrusted this matter to you. Now you say you want to push these matters to them to handle. Is adds, furthermore, I am your subordinate. The person I must assist is His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, not His Majesty the Emperor. Moreover, His Majesty intends to entrust this matter entirely to the Crown Princess. You go against His Majesty's wishes and insist on trying to solve the problem together here. This is somewhat too obsessive. This long speech leaves Leon completely speechless. Liz agrees, saying that now in the palace, apart from staying with Her Majesty the Queen, she has nothing else to do during other times. So she accepted this task. Both Liz and Is make sense. Only then does Leon understand that his daily handling of government affairs with the Emperor is to ensure smooth succession to the throne in the future. Moreover, the knight investiture ceremony and coming-of-age ceremony are in 3 months. Every winter, the royal family holds the royal knight's investiture ceremony. The knight investiture ceremony is the highest ritual of the royal family. Before spring arrives each year, the royal family holds the knight investiture ceremony to demonstrate their determination to reorganize and protect the empire. This carries great significance. And the Sword Saint, praised for his extraordinary faith and obsession, is the idol of all knights. Leon is this year's Sword Saint. According to tradition, he must preside over the investiture ceremony in 3 months, as well as the coming-of-age ceremony. This way, he can strengthen the royal knights and prepare for eliminating anti-royal forces and the diplomatic situation after his ascension. In the past, he experienced all this without preparation. Now, he can inherit the throne while the emperor is still alive. If he can establish his footing at this investiture ceremony, he will certainly be able to ascend the throne smoothly afterward. However, with the emperor and empress still alive, some threats still exist, which is why he is even more urgently seeking to resolve the remaining problems. At this moment, Liz reaches out and tells Leon, "Your Royal Highness, if you persist like this because you do not trust me, then you need not worry. I will definitely find a way to solve the problem perfectly." Every time Liz encounters important matters, she speaks to him with a very respectful tone. This habit involuntarily emerges when she hopes her opinions receive respect. Leon holds the girl's hand. Her hands are covered with calluses from practicing shooting. Now Leon feels reassured. He plants a kiss on Liz's forehead and leaves with peace of mind. Most of those unstable memories from the past have faded. After the social ball ended, Leon's guilt and anxiety decreased significantly. Now, even when he occasionally recalls past memories, his mood remains very calm, as if these events happened to someone else. Leon barely leaves when Is confesses to Liz, "Little Duke Elysian knows about the contract's existence because of me. I have had private dealings with the little Duke, and His Royal Highness already knows this. I swear loyalty to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness has also decided to trust me unconditionally. I heard that Marquis Filion participated in the design and production of the timepiece and completely severed ties with the Visconti family. Refusing a wealthy magnate comparable to the royal family is not easy, but he accomplished it. So will you become my subordinate to assist me this time? I do not know why His Highness trusts me so much, but His Royal Highness the Crown Prince knows how to care for his subordinates. Miss Liz, you are the person His Highness trusts most. His Highness believes I will tell you the truth honestly, is suddenly kneels down. Miss Liz, are you willing to trust me once more? I will definitely become a loyal minister worthy of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess. Liz smiles. Although you are minister and Crown Prince, you are even more the best of friends. Time flies quickly, and 3 weeks pass in the blink of an eye. The letter Liz sent is returned again. This is already the third letter that has been returned. Who exactly is this person who refuses a visit from the Crown Princess? Baroness Bane resides in an old mansion deep in an unmanaged forest. The forest path is so narrow that only carts carrying food supplies can enter and exit. She seems unwilling to show herself, and even the palace maids sent secretly are returned by her. This lady actually has blood relations with the Elysian family as a collateral noble, so I had thought that anyone from the Elysian family would certainly respond to the royal family. After inquiring about some details from the palace maid, Liz suddenly thinks, could she be refusing because of the royal family? Liz hurriedly has her maid prepare ordinary stationery and an ordinary carriage. When Shira went to visit, the lady did not drive her away, but instead told her the method to enter. From this it appears the lady does not completely refuse dialogue. If that is the case, then I should write to her as someone from the Elysian family. After all, I now know that family cannot constrain me. Family is merely a tool in my hands. Liz arrives at the old mansion in the deep mountains. Although somewhat nervous, she fears the letter will be returned again. She wonders if going directly to the door might work. There is even a doorbell installed, indicating she has not completely severed ties with the outside world. If she did not want to reply to letters, she could simply burn them. After all, eliminating evidence of receiving letters is the simplest method. Just as Liz feels puzzled, suddenly a voice comes. Put everything down and come. The offspring raised by Elysian is not stupid after all. Liz bows to the old lady in greeting. The crown princess actually bows to a mere baroness. How ridiculous. Do you plan to continue wasting time outside like this? I heard you once taught the former queen etiquette. His Majesty the Emperor burned the former queen's files and related materials to eliminate all traces of the former queen. The matter of the former queen and my father Duke Elysian tampering with the contract has become fact, but without related materials or files. When Liz mentions that contract, unexpectedly, the cup in the Baroness's hand suddenly falls to the ground. The old lady reminds Liz that in this world, knowing more and understanding more is not necessarily a good thing. Then the old lady prepares to get up and leave. Liz quickly calls her back. I came to find you because of the abolished contract. Only you know about this matter. Her words are so earnest that the old lady perhaps feels moved and tells Liz that the Emperor should be responsible for this matter. Liz hurriedly says that His Majesty has already exhausted himself over this matter. As a descendant of the Elysian family, she wants to stop her family from continuing such unconscionable and heartless deeds, if possible. She also wants to expose the crimes her father committed. If not possible, at least abolishing that unjust contract would suffice. The Baroness says nothing more and tells Liz to follow her. The old lady tells Liz that women who understand etiquette, wear corsets, and maintain clean elegance receive widespread praise and are considered symbols of beauty because the former queen admired the nobility and sanctity of the Elysian family. She wholeheartedly wanted to marry into the Elysian family according to the contract. However, after the Emperor met Miss Oslet, he broke free from the former queen's manipulation and insisted on marrying her despite opposition. Thus, the Emperor completely enraged the former queen. However, the ancestors' original intention in signing the contract was only to wish for national peace and tranquility, not to bind both parties together. But when it came to the former queen, the contract gradually deteriorated. She wholeheartedly wanted to consolidate the relationship with the Elysian family, so she began eliminating everyone who knew about the old contract. I became the sole survivor of this purge purely by luck. I happened to enter the palace to teach etiquette, and happened to be from a collateral branch of the Elysian family, so I was able to survive quietly until now. The Baroness hands a wooden box to Liz. She glares at Liz with unwillingness. She witnessed colleagues and family members die before her eyes. How could she alone continue living? The Baroness herself loved her ancestors, the Elysian family. It was the royal family and Liz's father who destroyed everything. However, the Baroness does not blame Liz. She sees that Liz possesses qualities similar to her ancestors and is willing to entrust that day's records to Liz. The Baroness adds that if Liz truly wants happiness, the royal family is definitely not a good choice. Liz takes the wooden box to find Mimir, hoping she can help restore it. Inside were piles of burnt paper fragments, which were part of the materials collected for the drafting of the original contract between the royal family and the Elysian family. The Baroness stole several copies before escaping. White light flashes. Mimir successfully restores the fragments. Liz looks at the intact materials in her hands. Since these are not the contract itself, she actually did not hold much hope. Just then, she seems to discover something. Meanwhile, the Duke is furious. He also learned the news that the Baroness is still alive. After the former queen's death, he thought matters regarding the contract would never be mentioned again. But he never expected Liz would dare bring up breaking the contract. Being subservient to Duke Visconti was already infuriating enough. He always thought Duke Viscountess was pretending to have good relations with the royal family. Now it seems this might be an illusion. Just then, the Duke stops in his tracks. He thought his son finally had a chance to be useful. However, at the social ball, not only did he fail to persuade his sister Liz, but he also caused him, a dignified Duke, to lose his head momentarily and say disparaging things about Duke Visconti. The Duke shakes his son's shoulders forcefully. "I gave birth to you and raised you, yet you do not know gratitude." Saying this, the Duke directly slaps his son. Ludwig's face instantly turns red. The Duke rages on, continuing to berate his son. Just then, the butler informs him that Miss Liz has arrived. Upon hearing this, the Duke, who was previously furious and red-faced, now seems like a completely different person, his eyes lighting up with joy and surprise. His daughter has not returned home for so many years. She must have had a change of heart. The couple hurriedly goes out to greet her. However, Liz smiles and tells them both, "I came to abolish that contract." The couple's minds go blank with shock, unable to speak. Although 4 family members sit at the dining table, they feel like strangers. The Duke now calculates in his mind. Liz did not bring the Emperor and Crown Prince with her, meaning they still do not know what he did to the former queen. This time he must properly suppress Liz's arrogance and preferably regain free access to the palace. At this moment, Liz discovers the wounds on her brother's face. The Duke hastily explains that his son lacks proper etiquette and shows disrespect to his parents, so this punishment is well-deserved. Liz grips her cup handle and smiles. This greatly contradicts the terms established by our ancestors in the contract. After a brief pause, she continues, "The contract must be abolished. This is inevitable." Liz stands up and tells these utterly disappointing parents before her that from now on, the royal family will hold House Elysian accountable according to the previous contract for violating its terms and impose punishment accordingly. The Duke finally loses his composure. He slams the table and rises, shouting in protest, "This was a treaty I signed honorably with the former empress. The one who violated the contract first was His Majesty the Emperor. Besides, you're just talking. Regarding the previous contract, you definitely don't even know what's written in it." Liz had anticipated her father would react this way. She directly produces the documents that Mimir had just restored, showing clear black text on white paper, the royal notarized certificate with a clause clearly written, "In cases of child abuse or violence against children, when circumstances are severe, accountability may be pursued and punishment imposed." Liz asks her brother if he's willing to speak about everything he endured at the Duke's mansion. Who would have thought that Ludwig, as if struck at his most painful spot, grits his teeth and grabs a dinner knife, attempting to stab Liz. At this moment, Leon arrives and immediately pulls Liz into his arms, pointing his sword at the man. He knew reasoning with people from this mansion would be futile. Even without his testimony, there's sufficient evidence to convict them of abuse. Initially, Leon wondered why Liz insisted on spending 10 minutes alone with the Elysian family. It turns out that from the beginning, after Liz obtained the restored documents, she immediately informed the Emperor, Empress, and Leon. Among these documents was a notarized certificate. With this, they could help Ludwig. Now Leon understands. Liz was attempting to convince the Elysians. Meanwhile, the Emperor and Empress, who arrived with Leon, also appear. Now Duke Elysian is completely finished. But even in the presence of royalty, the Duke dares to challenge his daughter Liz. If Liz insists on abandoning the family, then don't blame me for disowning this daughter. Liz has long seen through her father's coldness and hypocrisy. From yearning for paternal love to giving up hope, only she knows the pain she experienced during this process. The Emperor promptly stops Elysian and tells him, "You've committed so many crimes, you'll soon have free access to the palace to receive your punishment." Duke Elysian still attempts to argue, even claiming the certificate is forged. At this moment, Ludwig, who had remained silent, speaks up. He expresses understanding for His Majesty's concerns, but states he has never suffered any abuse. Liz is shocked that her brother could say such words. It seems there's still insufficient evidence for a conviction. Ludwig bows to them and says he acted impulsively earlier because he feared his family would bear false accusations, which led him to behave disrespectfully toward the crown princess. With things having reached this point, the Emperor can only let the matter rest and leaves with his family. Just after seeing off the royal family, Elysian clenches his fists. He had schemed so hard to maintain the contract until today, expended so much effort to protect his current position, and it's all because of that useless piece of shit. He grabs his son by the collar and slaps him repeatedly to vent his anger. The Duchess quickly intervenes to stop her husband. "Don't cause more trouble, and give them something to use against us." Ludwig remains silent. He truly wishes everything would disappear. Now he can't even leave the house. If not for Liz, he wouldn't need to endure these experiences. Ludwig believes all of this is his sister Liz's fault. Time flies, and 3 months pass quickly. Winter arrives as promised, with ice and snow covering the earth. Liz and Leon dance amid the falling snowflakes. Dancing with one's beloved in the snow is such a romantic thing. This has always been Liz's wish, and now she finally has Leon to help her fulfill this dream. The knighting ceremony approaches, and both feel nervous as they must perform before so many knights. Leon looks at Liz's face, reddened by the cold, and his heart begins racing again. Leon holds the girl's hands. "Liz, are you happy now?" While waiting for her answer, everything around them is so quiet that Leon can even hear the sound of his own breath. Liz smiles with her eyes curved. The answer speaks for itself. Soon, the day of the knighting ceremony and coming-of-age ritual arrives. The process proceeds smoothly. Liz, as crown princess, draws the sword before all the knights. Leon, as sword saint, kneels on one knee. Though it's such a humble gesture, he performs it with such carefree elegance. The conferment ceremony has ended, but Knight Commander Albert notices some knights still gathered together. Albert tells them to hurry up and return to the palace. At this moment, a third-year recruit approaches the commander, saying he greatly respects His Royal Highness and the Crown Princess, and feels honored to serve His Royal Highness. It appears the Crown Prince's status is gradually rising. Since the knighting ceremony and coming-of-age ritual, Leon already possesses the bearing of a nation's ruler. Recently, he's been busy handling the bridge collapse incident at the Export Trade District. How are the casualties from the collapse? Casualties are still being counted, but export goods suffered severe damage. The clocks that the royal family decided to popularize and export also go through the 3rd district. At this moment, Is suddenly whispers something in Leon's ear, and Leon's expression immediately changes drastically. After the conferment ceremony, the royal family immediately announced the nullification of the contract with Duke Elysian. During this period, members of the Elysian family spent their probationary period at their own mansion. To process the contract nullification, they were allowed access to the palace. As punishment for forging the contract is announced, the truth about the Elysian family's dealings with other nobles gradually surfaces. Liz becomes the target of criticism, with some cursing her for abandoning her family to curry favor with the royal family. Leon was furious about this, but she doesn't feel much affected. Now, their relationship with the Emperor and Empress grows increasingly harmonious, and they've truly become a family. Their relationship with the two friends they met at the ball also grows closer. Currently, everything seems to be developing in a positive direction. However, one thing still puzzles Liz. Why would the Visconti family ally with the Elysian family? They had investigated educational institutions that had dealings with the Visconti family but found no problems. She doesn't distrust Miss Beatrice, but thinking about the two families' alliance at the ball, she cannot let this matter go. Unexpectedly, Beatrice proactively warns Liz to be careful of her brother Ludwig. It turns out Ludwig sent a message today requesting to see Liz. Beatrice believes his visit isn't simply to persuade her. Beatrice reminds Liz, "You seem to trust others too easily. You'd better develop the habit of maintaining suspicion. The Crown Princess must have more reliable allies." Liz considers this, and asks her two friends whether they've decided to stand by her side this time. If so, she's willing to trust them. After seeing off the two ladies, Liz takes out Ludwig's message. At this moment, Leon, having heard the news from Is, hurries to Liz. "I heard the young Duke Elysian requests an audience. It's not a formal request anyway. Just refuse it." Leon wants to say more, but Is, who followed Leon, has to remind him, "Your Highness, you need to handle the bridge collapse at the Export Trade District." Liz also expresses her desire to speak privately with her brother and asks him to handle his affairs first. All these matters give Leon a headache. Why must he choose this timing for a request? Father has been too busy lately to even patrol the palace. Suddenly, Leon notices the dress Liz is wearing. This won't do. What if he does something to harm Liz? Why don't you carry a gun? Or take my sword with you? Liz covers Leon's mouth with her hand. What sister goes fully armed to meet her brother? Ever since that boy nearly hurt Liz last time, Leon has been traumatized and simply cannot trust that kid. But since Liz wants to see him, he cannot stop her. He only says he'll return early. Liz stands on her tiptoes and kisses Leon's lips, smiling as she tells him not to worry. Nothing will happen. Leon is immediately dazed by the kiss, standing frozen with a red face, then rides off to handle official business. In the garden, the siblings meet again. When Ludwig was still at the nursery, everyone told him. He had a very beautiful sister with silver hair and blue eyes who was the future crown princess and future empress. Everyone spoke ill of his sister, and all those who had spoken about her would die mysteriously soon after. These experiences intensified his hatred toward his sister. This time he comes to request her help in securing lenient punishment for the family. Ludwig states he's not asking his sister to pressure the royal family, but hopes she can personally intervene to restore House Elysian's reputation. As long as she opens the palace doors and communicates with the Elysian family, reducing the deserved punishment to a minimum would suffice. He's even considered public opinion. If the royal family and Elysian reconcile, there will certainly be gossip initially, so the royal family can punish those nobles who exposed Elysian. Ludwig shamelessly adds, "Isn't royal authority meant for times like this?" Hearing these words cuts Liz's heart like a knife. She feels deeply saddened. Liz asks her brother, "Have you ever set aside family concerns and listened to your own heart?" Liz tells her brother, "I've seen and learned much in the royal family. Things I could never understand in a lifetime at the Duke's mansion. I want to share these with you." Ludwig scoffs. "One is the royal family's puppet, the other is the Duke's puppet. Do you think there's a difference?" Liz tells him, "We are human beings, not puppets. If you break free from the family, you'll be happier than you are now." Unexpectedly, Ludwig immediately stands up and points his sword at Liz's throat. "Sister, is breaking free from family so simple for you?" Meanwhile, the bridge collapse situation is wrapping up. Leon had intended to have the 3rd Division handle the cleanup according to assignments, but Albert informs him that the 3rd division has been replaced by the 2nd division. Leon doesn't understand. Albert tells him that a guy named Neil kept begging him, wanting to watch 2 Elysian family members speak privately. At this moment in the garden, Ludwig swings his sword, determined to kill his sister. As Crown Princess, Liz has knights assigned to accompany her when going out or meeting people, yet now she's nearly being killed by her brother, and the knights standing nearby act as if they see nothing, remaining motionless. Liz finds this extremely strange. At this moment, Ludwig tells her that none of the knights here are her people. The lead knight, Neil, has always been an Elysian family member. Neil grabs Liz's long hair. Ludwig stands before his sister, the family's revival in Elysian's life. Do you think I care about such things? Ludwig tells his sister he never intended anything else from the beginning. He has only one purpose, to kill this detestable sister. Without the Crown Prince's protection, the so-called Crown Princess is just a powerless, weak woman. Killing you would be effortless. Liz tells the irrational man that killing her serves no purpose. This isn't outside the palace. Killing me would result in your own punishment. I can keep today's events secret. Otherwise, you will only plunge yourself into more miserable circumstances. Unexpectedly, these words completely enrage Ludwig. In your eyes, I'm pitiful, aren't I? You never thought about my existence. The person who stays in the royal family enjoying happiness now says she sympathizes with me, pities me? If you didn't exist, everyone could be happy. The moment the man raises his sword, Liz remembers her childhood, when she had just been punished and told her nurse, "If I had a younger brother or sister, I would definitely protect them and not let them suffer our parents' discipline." She asked the nurse a question. "I always see the ocean before my eyes, but my heart feels cold. What emotion is this? Does it have a name?" Now Liz understands it's called loneliness. She's so lonely. In the critical moment, Liz pulls out the gun and shoots at her brother. With a thud, Ludwig's sword-holding hand instantly turns red, startling Neil behind her. The fallen Liz suddenly picks up the sword from the ground and decisively cuts off her hair. After escaping Neil's control, she holds a sword in one hand and a gun in the other. "I'm sorry, I didn't want to use the gun." It turns out that just before Liz went to meet Ludwig, Leon still gave Liz the gun. Now that the gunshot is fired, other knights will arrive within minutes at most. Liz smiles. "If you want to escape, you'd better do it now. However, after Leon investigates your identities, he'll probably arrest you soon. I can't help you with that." As soon as Liz finishes speaking, she hears urgent, fleeing footsteps. Neil grits his teeth and raises his sword to strike Liz. But who knew Liz would be so agile? After dodging his attack, she immediately shoots him. The bullet hits his face perfectly, and even his heavy helmet falls to the ground. He wipes the blood from his forehead. Nasir Primlan Neil is the young duke's most trusted confidant. The young Duke Elysian showed him kindness, supporting him at the orphanage, and later he obtained the Viscount Primlan title. Clutching his injured arm, the young duke suddenly reveals an evil expression. "You don't want me to destroy the Elysian Duke's mansion, do you? A sister who points a gun at her own brother. You're quite well prepared. The intelligence about Neil should have come from Miss Visconti, right? That woman's reckless behavior isn't new." Ludwig calls Neil back and tells him to cut off the limbs of those who escaped. Now only these siblings remain on the scene. But the young duke suddenly wants Liz to kill him. He lists his crimes one by one. "By now, you've guessed who's behind me, haven't you? Don't tell me you trust Miss Viscontia. She'll make a move against you sooner or later. After all, she can't disobey orders either. So you came here because you couldn't disobey either?" After hearing Liz's words, the young duke falls into memory. It turns out that, in the palace, that man actually ordered the young duke to kill the crown princess. Before the young duke could respond, the man grabbed his throat. "Do you think I'm asking you? You just need to follow my instructions step by step to destroy the royal family. All of this disgusts me. I had intended to kill you, then torture Miss Visconti in your place. Now I'm too lazy to do it." He suddenly raises his arm and presses the gun in Liz's hand to his own head. "I'd rather die by your hand now, so you'll live in pain for the rest of your life because all of this is your fault." He suddenly pulls the trigger. With the gun's recoil, both Liz and Ludwig fall to the ground. "Do you truly seek death? How can you say such things so easily?" Liz tells him a story. "When I was still at the Duke's mansion, I always wanted to have siblings." This also brings the young Duke into memory. It turns out the nurse made dolls for the young lady to practice caring for younger siblings. Liz smiles. "I secretly practiced with my most precious doll, hiding it from Mother. In any case, I have a duty to protect you, Ludwig." The young Duke sheds tears. "You're too weak, Crown Princess. Someday you'll regret not killing me today." At this moment, Liz's knights arrive. "Sorry, we didn't expect all the nearby knights to be unconscious." But Liz's mind is entirely focused on her brother. Just beside a large tree, a mysterious figure in a cloak watches everything unfold. Liz has already bandaged her wounds, just as she says not to tell Leon. Leon suddenly arrives, but his condition doesn't look good either. Liz quickly stands up. These two begin caring for each other. It turns out Leon got blood on himself while treating bridge collapse victims. Only after hearing this does Liz sit down with relief. "I shouldn't have left you alone here. After Duke Elysian's trial ends, I'll find evidence of the young Duke's crimes and punish him." Unexpectedly, Liz shows that expression. "Can that child's punishment be postponed for now?" Leon grasps Liz's hands. "Every time you suppress your feelings, you get that look on your face. I hope you can rely on me more, instead of always saying it's fine. Right now, you are what matters most." Sibling relationships are naturally good and bad. Fortunately, father doesn't mention giving me younger siblings anymore. Leon looks expectant, hoping his words can ease Liz's mood. Unexpectedly, tears flow down Liz's face. I thought I was going to die. When I thought about death, I was so afraid. Liz lowers her head onto Leon's shoulder. For you, the young duke's very existence might be misfortune. Perhaps he witnessed that childhood when I couldn't protect you. Your already wounded heart will produce new wounds no matter how much I try to heal it. I told you I love you, but sometimes I fear love. How can I bring you perfect happiness? I should immediately execute the young duke illusion, but if he dies, Liz might collapse again. But if I spare his life, he'll continue threatening Liz and causing her pain. Leon suddenly pulls Liz up. The trial of Duke Elysian is in a few days. I'll help you achieve the result you want. Leon suddenly stops. After everything settles, will you marry me? Whatever you want, the most precious gems, the most gorgeous clothes, I can give you everything. But you don't want these things. I don't want to face you in this dirty, disheveled state. If you don't mind, I want to share your pain, your misfortune, and everything you hate. I'll use the entire royal family to protect you. Even if you're hurt, I'll heal you and keep you safe. Then someday, you and I can share happiness together. Meanwhile, Miss Visconti holds Mail, sitting in the center of the room. Suddenly, arms embrace her from behind. You've finished writing the birthday party invitations, right? She's quite angry. I've always wanted to pick gifts with you, but you're always busy. Though the Elysian family has fallen, judging by the royal family's blind protection of the crown princess, she'll definitely survive. The black-haired woman worries about her sister. If getting close to the crown princess backfires, it'll be troublesome. But regardless, it's time to cut off the young duke's tail. Visconti finds the young duke. Duke Elysian's trial seems to be in 2 days. Your plan to assassinate the crown princess also failed. In the end, the crown princess will still survive and inherit the family business. The young duke remains unmoved after hearing this. I think you're the one driven by meaningless greed. Do you think you can control me? Don't worry, miss. I won't interfere with your plans. A tail about to be severed doesn't know where it will attach next. Time flies, and Duke Elysian's trial begins. Article 3 of the original contract, excessive behavior toward children or violence against them. When circumstances are severe, pursue responsibility and impose punishment. According to this provision, Duke Elysian and the Duchess should face execution, but considering your family's long history and having raised an empress, the following judgment is rendered. The Crown Princess is committed to restoring the original contract and reputation. The head of House Elysian shall be inherited by the Crown Princess. Duke Elysian and his wife are sentenced to 20 years imprisonment and exile overseas. After the trial, Leon and Liz come to the Emperor's chamber and loudly announce, "We've decided to marry!" Unexpectedly, both the Emperor and Empress agree immediately, but the King doesn't forget to tease Leon. As you can see, my son is nothing but a sword saint. If you don't mind, then get married. However, after marriage, we don't accept returns or provide after-sales service. I really want to pass the throne to you tomorrow and leave this tiresome palace. But before the wedding, some matters must be perfectly resolved, right? Leon nods slightly. This time, we might solve the problem that's been troubling you from the root, father. Just after finishing their conversation with the king, Liz wants to examine the Elysian family's account books and nursery. You don't need to take on the Empress's responsibilities so early. Leon suddenly remembers something. Miss Visconti sent a birthday invitation, but I heard you received it this morning. I received mine last night. She deliberately sent us separate invitations. Could she have another message to convey? Leon suddenly calls to a passing butler. Could you bring a bottle of red wine to the Crown Prince's palace later? In the dim room, Leon sits in the center. Unexpectedly, he falls asleep on the balcony. A strange image appears in his mind. That person shouldn't be a witch. Suddenly, a voice calls to him. She holds a medicine bottle in her hand. Now I'm going to reverse time, but suddenly Liz's voice comes, waking Leon with a start. Leon strides forward, looking panicked. Is something wrong, Liz? Liz, waiting outside the door, hears a crash from inside the room. It turns out Leon got drunk and fell onto the bed. Leon asks embarrassedly, "You suddenly came to find me. Is something wrong?" Liz immediately becomes unhappy. What else could it be? We separated during the day and haven't seen each other until evening. Of course I wanted to see you and talk. Liz suddenly exerts force. You should lie down and sleep. Don't do anything foolish and hurt yourself. Unexpectedly, Leon suddenly grabs Liz's hand and pulls her down. What foolish thing could I do? You don't need to force me to lie down. But before Leon finishes speaking, he realizes something's wrong. Liz stares at him blankly and says, Leon is a pervert. This truly wrongs Leon. What did I do to be a pervert? You were like this before too, and you even had a knife then. Have you always been so vigilant? Liz sits up. I want to hear about your life before meeting me. Well, I was even colder than now as a child. Assassins once broke into my room, so as you said, I've always been very vigilant. Even so, Leon, you've always been gentle with me. You even made me a ring from clover flowers. It's because of you, Leon, that I came to love flowers. Time comes to Visconti's birthday banquet. The Crown Prince and Crown Princess attend together. Leon shows interest in her family's academy. Before Visconti can answer, someone suddenly bumps into her, causing all the red wine in her hand to spill onto Leon. In front of everyone, Leon doesn't complain excessively. Visconti approaches Leon and says, I still want to formally apologize to you. Since this was my discourtesy, let me personally escort you to the dressing room to make amends for my mistake. Would that be acceptable? Leon understands her meaning and, after briefly explaining to Liz, follows her to the dressing room. In all my years, this is the first time someone has welcomed me this way. You specifically wrote about the academy on the invitation. If this matter can't be discussed publicly, why didn't you tell me in advance? Actually, you don't need to be so wary of me. How can I not be careful of someone who deliberately spills wine on me? This was all your careful design. Didn't you also take this opportunity to understand your current status? In the past, those people would definitely favor me and my family, but now they have no choice but to watch your expression. Or rather, are you afraid I'm after the empress position? Leon thinks for a moment. Just say what you have to say directly. I see you've also interfered with the academy and nursery. Visconti smiles slightly. I can provide intelligence for your highness. In exchange, you must guarantee my personal safety, with my friendship with the crown princess as collateral. You might not believe it, but I'm truly desperate now. My father, Duke Visconti, intends to rebel. Leon finds her words puzzling. Thank you for not immediately taking my head after hearing this. Why did you decide to become an informant? Because this isn't simple rebellion. He wants to see the royal family permanently corrupted. Leon feels another wave of pain after hearing this. Past memories flash through his mind again. If even a duke's daughter is just a chess piece, that's truly terrifying. But Leon still doesn't understand why Miss Visconti wants to provide intelligence. It turns out she simply doesn't approve of her father's rebellious actions. She also envies the crown princess. If you truly don't trust me, just kill me and be done with it. This deal is guaranteed profit for your highness. Leon considers this. This matter requires long-term planning. Let's continue this conversation elsewhere next time. At the clock tower, Mimir is alone. Liz and his royal highness said they were going to a party. Yis is having a rare dinner with Marquis Filion tonight. Grandfather is collecting research materials. They really live such tiring lives, unlike me who's so relaxed, staying in the clock tower all day. But her attention is suddenly drawn. An intern apparently left without closing the clock tower door. Just as she approaches to close the door, she's startled by what she sees. Things are developing in a bad direction. In the Empire's royal city, Leon returns to the birthday ball, but is startled by the person before him. Isn't this Duke Visconti who plans to rebel? Is this our first meeting? The Duke smiles. I held you when you were little. I'm honored to see you again at my daughter's birthday banquet. I apologize for missing the previous social ball and Knight Commander conferment ceremony due to personal reasons. However, I sent my daughter to represent me, which maintained proper etiquette. Leon glances at Miss Visconti behind him and recalls what she said earlier. He smiles slightly. After all, the palace contains the clock tower you consider a thorn in your side. Your reluctance to come is understandable. I was so discourteous before His Royal Highness. But today, I'm just a father celebrating his daughter's birthday. As you know, my family has always been close to the Elysian family, and equally skeptical about magic popularization, so our relationship with you is naturally rather awkward. The Duke raises his hand. Let's end the pleasantries here, Your Royal Highness. You and the Visconti family have never interacted, have you? As a subject about to accept a new monarch's rule, may I occupy a moment of your precious time? You make a valid point. This place isn't suitable for discussion. Let's go outside and talk privately. After Leon and Liz briefly exchange words, he walks outside with the Duke. However, as the Duke passes Miss Visconti, he glares at her fiercely. Walking out of the banquet, Leon and the Duke begin their conversation. This castle before us has been passed down through my family for generations, Your Highness the Crown Prince. In the near future, you will need to protect far more than you do now. When you become responsible for others' lives, you will begin to fear everything, constantly maintaining vigilance to protect others, doing everything possible to preserve the status quo. Everyone grows old this way, with protection becoming the entirety of life, and they will stop at nothing for it. Several elder families, including myself, fear magic because magic brings earth-shattering changes and innovations, which is precisely what we dread. This old man has yet to witness magic firsthand, though I hear that successfully popularized timepieces can open doors to another dimension. Currently, they are not mature enough, and speaking of popularization, is premature. His Majesty's intention is to utilize these timepieces to facilitate merchants' trading activities. But once those mages' status rises, will they not manipulate time at will? However, times have changed, and I truly hope this is merely my unfounded worry. All conveniences and benefits come with a price, and as an aging family head, I must protect my family. Leon now understands the Duke's meaning. Although I still care deeply about Miss Visconti's words, the Duke's words are also entirely correct. But when Leon mentions young Duke Ludwig, the Duke displays an expression of complete ignorance. Leon looks puzzled. Does he truly not know? Or is he deliberately acting in front of me? As time passes, the two walk farther and farther away. Although this sudden private meeting between us was unexpected, is leading people to such a deserted forest your way of hospitality? The Duke scratches his head. I think this place is quite suitable. With that, he draws his sword and points it at Leon. Behind Leon, many figures emerge, instantly surrounding him. The Duke looks apologetic. Forgive me, an accident has occurred. Your Highness the Crown Prince. Please forgive this transgression. With the Duke's command, countless black-robed figures immediately rush toward Leon. Leon's body emanates purple light as he prepares to face the black-robed attackers. But before he can start, the black-robed figures around him are struck down one by one. The Duke nearby shouts, Do not let them approach His Highness the Crown Prince. Eliminate all these assassins, not one shall escape. Suddenly, 2 armored warriors appear before Leon. Leon looks confused and asks the Duke what happened. Actually, during the banquet earlier, I discovered suspicious individuals monitoring you. As for why I did not inform you, it was my personal judgment, and I am willing to accept your reprimand at any time. But today is my daughter's important annual celebration, and I did not wish to ruin it, just as Leon worries about insufficient manpower. The 2 warriors have already returned, having eliminated the entire gang involved in this assassination plot. According to their interrogation results, they were a wanted bandit group from this region who, upon learning that His Highness the Crown Prince would attend this event, devised an assassination plan. Both the knights and the Duke apologized to Leon. We never expected such petty criminals to still target the royal family and nobility. Leon, observing this scene, knows their words are truthful. When Leon praises the Duke's knights for their exceptional martial skills, the Duke surprisingly reveals they are not yet his guard knights. As I mentioned earlier, I wish to handle this matter as quietly as possible, so I called upon trainee knights Miguel and Bosbet, who are currently receiving training at Maronier Academy. As they prepare to leave, the Duke suddenly grabs one of the fallen black-robed figures. Could you not stay quiet? You had to come here and cause trouble. Outside the castle, Leon tells Miguel and Bosbet to return to their duties, saying he can return alone. Leon walks while contemplating the Duke's actions, with Miss Visconti's words constantly flashing through his mind. Regarding her, Leon will not easily trust either. While thinking, Liz suddenly calls out to him. Leon, are you all right? But no matter how Liz inquires, Leon remains silent about what just occurred. At this moment, he suddenly says to the Duke's daughter nearby, "Let us meet again in a while." Leon and Liz exit the castle. Liz asks Leon the same question again, and Leon's response remains unchanged. Liz looks disappointed. She has a premonition that Leon and the Duke's daughter share secrets, and her mood is particularly unpleasant. In the dim room, the Duke suddenly summons Beatrice. "I see you got along quite well with His Highness the Crown Prince." Beatrice responds calmly, "Are you not also aware that our family and the royal house share a mutually dependent relationship? After the Crown Princess's murder, our family was already on the suspect list. Today, using the opportunity to meet with the Crown Prince, we removed a thorn in our flesh. Is this not a success? But you are mistaken about one thing. His Highness the Crown Prince intended to summon me in the near future anyway. When one remains in high positions for long, the supporting timber below becomes unstable at times. The same applies to being above others. Therefore, no threatening factor can be overlooked, not even a fly flapping its wings. I summoned you for the same reason. I apologize for my impulsive actions. If Ludwig's plan had not failed, would I need to do these things? This reasoning makes sense. In any case, I will send you to the palace again after some time." However, we have not seen Rosalind for quite a while. Seeing her today, I never expected she had grown so much. It is quite remarkable when you think about it. The Milan family and ours do not have good relations, yet you particularly care for Rosalind. Several days have passed since Miss Visconti's birthday banquet. Liz is thinking about Ludwig's matter. But in a casual moment, she unexpectedly notices Miss Beatrice. She approaches Leon with official documents regarding the bandit attack, the contents including information about the bandit members and their punishment measures. But Leon knows her visit is not simple, so speak directly to the point. Honestly, I believe the Visconti family is the force behind the Crown Princess's assassination, which is why I listened to you so seriously last time. Moreover, does the young Duke not have considerable connections with your family? Of course, reaching conclusions based on this alone would be somewhat far-fetched. In this situation, if everything you told me is true, then you must know other things as well, such as whether the assassination was young Duke Ludwig's own idea, or whether he received orders from Duke Visconti. Are you willing to tell me everything you know? Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Beatrice displays an expression as if she has seen a ghost. What does that expression mean? No matter how one views this matter, it does not seem like the young Duke acted on his own. There must be someone behind this, organizing and planning systematically. In such circumstances, you came to inform me that your father intends rebellion. Do you not find all of this too coincidental? Beatrice, I will not hold your earlier mistake against you. I will be direct. Where is Ludwig now? Unexpectedly, she claims not to know. Leon suddenly stands up. Do you remember what you said to me before? If there was half a lie, you would apologize with death. Do you wish to fulfill those words here? I do not know what your intentions are in approaching me, but I hope you will not use similar excuses to see me again. Beatrice looks helpless. I never expected to be so untrustworthy in others' eyes. If your highness's words are true, then only Ludwig himself and my father should know Ludwig's whereabouts. However, Nabide is where Ludwig lived. Perhaps we could find clues about his whereabouts there. But currently, Nabida remains the Visconti family's private territory. If we venture there rashly, my father will certainly notice. To visit Nabide normally requires my father's permission, but as the Duke's daughter, I can enter smoothly without alerting my father. Leon considers and decides to accompany her. Unexpectedly, as they step outside, Liz appears before them. After the two briefly communicate, Liz unexpectedly also wishes to go to Nabide. Leon looks delighted. Then let us go together. But the Duke's daughter behind him breaks into nervous perspiration. In the bumping carriage, Liz has remained silent since earlier. This atmosphere makes the Duke's daughter feel suffocated, inwardly saying Leon lacks perception. Things have become troublesome. The Duke's daughter had not planned to offend the Crown Princess. She suddenly thinks that, although the Crown Princess is already the head of the Elysian family, she has not yet taken over Nabide, so she should have applied for a formal visit in advance. After getting off the carriage, Liz cannot help but sigh. I thought places with children would be noisy, but I never expected it to be so quiet here. It seems both internal and external management here are quite proper. But she will soon demand that Beatrice's family surrender this place. But at this moment, the appearance of two young sword practitioners breaks this tranquility. They turn out to be children from here. The administrator explains with a smile. They always get excited when outsiders come. She even immediately addresses the crown prince behind Liz. Even Leon himself is quite puzzled by this situation. Liz decides to go inside first to understand the situation. She asks Leon to help watch these two children for now. In the courtyard, the children are all attracted by Liz's beauty, and they even want to attend Liz and Leon's wedding. The current atmosphere makes the Duke's daughter feel somewhat out of place. Meanwhile, on the other side, Leon suddenly kneels on the ground, and the two young sword practitioners mock him. This uncle is really terrible at fighting. Leon sits on the ground. I never thought playing with children for so long would be this tiring. Unexpectedly, the two young sword practitioners approach. It turns out they practice swordsmanship every day, hoping to someday go to Marinier. Even if we cannot compare to those two, we believe we can definitely become excellent knights. But they suddenly say, those two are probably no match for that person either, right? Brother Ludwig. In the courtyard, the children ask Liz for her name. When she says she is from the Elysian family, the children look surprised and say, then do you know Brother Ludwig? This question catches Liz off guard. Although she knows Ludwig grew up in an orphanage, she does not know how he got along with other children. Just as Liz prepares to invite the children to attend her wedding, she faces strong opposition from the Duke's daughter. Crown Princess, forgive my boldness, but inviting these children to attend the wedding ceremony requires your careful consideration. Before Liz can react, the children behind her suddenly begin to sob. They also want to see the beautiful palace and jewels. Under the tree on the other side, Leon asks the children if they know the young Duke. The children indicate that Brother Ludwig returned home after growing up and occasionally comes back. That brother is particularly kind, often bringing us delicious chocolate. He also secretly teaches us swordsmanship. When Leon asks where he is now, the child suddenly says he should be inside right now, though he is not certain. But that night when he went to the bathroom, he indeed saw his figure. Leon immediately goes to that room. When he enters, it is particularly quiet inside. At this moment, he sees an injured toy bird on the ground. Leon crouches down to examine it, but a sword thrusts directly toward Leon's neck. You moved someone else's belongings without permission. You should at least apologize. Before he can finish speaking, Leon suddenly grabs the young Duke's neck. I advise you not to be so crazy. The young Duke laughs. I never expected you to make such an expression. I suddenly begin to worry about my sister's married life. What brings you to find me, personally? Would you be satisfied if I obediently died like this? Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Leon suddenly throws him several meters away. You guessed half correctly, but I do not wish for you to die. Intruding into someone's home and acting so domineeringly, this truly opens my eyes. Leon looks puzzled. Home? The young Duke sneers upon seeing this. Do you think all Elysian heirs live in the glorious palaces built by the family? Except for those few monthly public activities, I spend all other time here. They constantly emphasize that the root of all evil is that woman who betrayed the family. Leading to the family's decline, you are no longer a child. You should have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. This is clearly brainwashing. On the contrary, Liz not only does not blame you but works from within and without, running everywhere just to restore your reputation. I have many questions for you, but before that, I must make one thing clear to you. Do not appear before Liz again. Unexpectedly, the young Duke suddenly laughs. Is this the last bit of mercy the brother-in-law grants to his brother-in-law? But I will definitely kill Liz. Why not strike me down now to eliminate future trouble? Leon is stunned by this. What are you standing there for? Strike quickly. You have come this far. Why do you suddenly calm down? I said I will definitely kill your fiancé. Leon picks up the short knife. For Liz's happiness, what can I not do? I think you underestimate me too much, but after hearing this, the young Duke laughs again. Your father killed his mother for the woman he loved, and you, as his blood at most, would kill a brother-in-law. What is the big deal? But Leon looks at him with complete ignorance. Ludwig scratches his head. Did your father not tell you to spare your feelings? Unexpectedly, Leon's flying kick lands on the young Duke's face the next second. I have been quite irritated lately and do not wish to hear more nonsense. What you just said lacks context entirely. Unexpectedly, a child's voice suddenly comes from outside the door. After hearing this, the young Duke says, "Damn it," then springs up and presses Leon's face down, immediately throwing Leon to the ground. I truly wanted you to kill me, but now that there are witnesses, there is no way to kill me, right? You should have killed me earlier, then there would be no problem. You are not a child, why resort to fists? Regardless, I gave you the opportunity, but you failed to grasp it. The next time we meet will be when I kill that woman. I truly look forward to seeing your expression then. After speaking, the young Duke jumps out the window and escapes. Leon feels somewhat regretful. Upon actually seeing him, I could not maintain composure and ended up ruining everything. But that sudden statement from that boy should merely be mockery regarding the former queen's death. The two children arrive upon hearing the commotion, only to see the weakling uncle emerging from inside. Leon tells them, "There is nothing inside. Go find your teacher quickly. Also, do not mention this matter to anyone." Leon walks outside and encounters Liz, who is looking for him. "I could not find you, so..." She looks up at Leon. Unexpectedly, Leon smiles at her and says, "Sorry, I got carried away playing with the children." Liz is shocked after seeing this. This expression is completely different from his usual demeanor, nothing like the expression the Leon I know would make. At this moment, Leon turns around. "Ah, right, Liz, where is Beatrice? Was she not with you?" Liz looks puzzled. "Why ask about Beatrice?" "Speak of the devil." Beatrice appears beside them. "Crown Princess, the carriage you requested has arrived." Now Leon is confused. What happened? Why call for another carriage? Liz explains, "Miss Beatrice has other matters to attend to, so we decided to act separately." Upon hearing this, Leon asks Liz to board the carriage first, saying he has something to discuss with Beatrice. Liz, seeing this, feels like crying, and leaves without looking back. Leon looks at Liz with bewilderment. Through the Duke's daughter, he learns that the two had some incident earlier. On the other side, Liz sits in the carriage with low spirits. Suddenly, there comes a knocking sound. When she looks up, she unexpectedly sees the young Duke. In the courtyard, the Duke's daughter indicates she cannot discover the Duke's plans and asks Leon if he has any news about Ludwig. "He was here. I saw him, but I carelessly let him escape. The basement of the auxiliary building is his base. We must clean it up before Liz sees it. Also, temporarily stop investigating Duke Visconti. From now on, focus entirely on capturing Ludwig. If Duke Visconti's intention to rebel is true, he absolutely cannot abandon Ludwig, this chess piece. Ludwig is a dangerous individual. My plan is to capture him immediately and make him confess everything about Duke Visconti. So if you want me to trust you, remember to report immediately upon discovering any clues about Ludwig." The Duke's daughter suddenly says, "The Crown Princess appears to be in poor spirits. Do you not think you should take this opportunity to explain things clearly to her?" After Leon finishes giving instructions and leaves, a voice suddenly speaks. The speaker is actually Ludwig. "Hoping for harmonious relations between you two, is that your sincere sentiment? Your ability to appear and disappear mysteriously remains as annoying as ever. We have not seen each other for such a short time, yet I feel you have become foolish. Previously, you at least maintained some dignity as a duke's daughter. Now you are completely like a greedy child in the bumping carriage." Whenever Leon mentions Beatrice, Liz reacts strangely. However, her mood appears slightly better than before, all because of what the young duke gave her. After returning to the palace, Leon summons all the knights. Among those who know the full details of the Crown Princess's assassination and the perpetrator, I have selected those I can trust, which is all of you standing here at this moment. I had brief contact with the perpetrator, young Duke Ludwig, and learned he will attempt to assassinate the Crown Princess again, although I once promised the Crown Princess not to pursue him further. Today I command you, upon discovering Ludwig, capture him alive immediately. Albert, what I mentioned previously can begin preparation today. When Albert feels the approaching wedding makes this somewhat inappropriate, he faces Leon's strong opposition. Several days later, Is begins checking wedding details. The wedding banquet food has been properly arranged, but the head chef feels it is still insufficient. When Is considers it adequate. He faces strong questioning from the head chef. This is the grand wedding celebration of the Crown Prince and Crown Princess. I naturally must do my utmost to create the finest cuisine. Is also understands that everyone is anticipating this wedding. The landscape architect anticipates it, the palace maids anticipate it, even Bailey anticipates the wedding. I once again sense how beloved these two are by everyone. Not only palace residents but even common people discuss this wedding. This wedding has actually received attention and blessings from everyone. This makes Is somewhat envious of Leon. But he suddenly realizes, what am I thinking? At this moment he encounters Dorothea. What brings you to the market? Should you not be busy creating gowns for the Crown Princess now? It turns out Dorothea's recent work has not been going smoothly, so she came to the market to see if she could think of good ideas. In Is's view, are you not putting too much pressure on yourself? Actually, Dorothea worries whether the gown can still be completed. The Crown Princess has recently developed doubts about marriage. Is stunned after hearing this. Something happened yesterday. I was still thinking about what kind of dress would be most dazzling. This is the first time in decades of making clothes that I have felt such pressure. But when I asked if the Crown Princess had mentioned my request to His Highness, the Crown Princess said he has been very busy lately. At this moment, His Highness the Crown Prince arrived. But his first words were, "What do you need from me?" I felt extremely awkward. Actually, I have a favor to ask. With the wedding approaching, if your Highness could provide guidance, we might achieve a better design. But His Highness the Crown Prince said, "If it is not urgent, could I finish what I am currently working on first?" Just as His Highness the Crown Prince was about to leave, Miss Liz called him back. "Can you not stay and look together?" When His Highness the Crown Prince intended to stay, he faced Miss Liz's opposition again. "I misspoke. Go attend to your business." His Highness the Crown Prince, finding this inexplicable, left. Now, whenever I think of the Crown Princess's expression, I cannot sleep. Moreover, she does not know the specific details, but she always feels the matter is not finished. As night falls, Duke Visconti meets with Ludwig in the forest. The young Duke tells him about recent events. The Crown Prince is even more pathetic than I expected. There is no need to worry about him at all. In the training ground, today Leon practices more diligently than usual. So far, I cannot even call myself a sword saint. I indeed could not maintain composure then and could not keep up with his movements. At that moment, my life and death were in his single thought. There are also those words the two children said. To protect Liz, I must become stronger. Damn it, such training naturally causes body aches. But I cannot have such cowardly thoughts. If I do not pull myself together, how can I protect Liz? Thinking this, Leon suddenly startles. I must hurry to the tailor room. Without realizing it, evening has arrived. Leon has also forgotten what formal wear he wore in the past. Although I was also the groom then, the timing was wrong, and I barely remember the wedding events. Thinking about it, time passes so quickly. From when I requested the witch to reverse time until now. Finally reaching today, I must eliminate all obstacles. Leon arrives at the tailor room. Unexpectedly, Liz says, "You came late." Leon explains he had matters to handle, but when Liz asks what matters, Leon refuses to say. I feared disturbing Dorothea when you arrived, so I waited here for you. Now I should return to my room. I thought I would have things to say upon seeing you, but now that I see you, I do not wish to speak. After hearing this, Leon's heart pounds. His previous life flashes through his mind again. In the end, it still becomes like this. His head throbs with pain, again. Leon pins Liz against the wall. Liz, have you had something troubling you recently? Why have you suddenly changed? Tell me, and I will resolve it immediately. Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Liz looks completely astonished. Leon, why are you acting this way? You think I have changed? I should be saying those words to you. Honestly, whether it is your sudden association with Beatrice, or your indifference toward this wedding surpassing everyone else's, though I am angry about these things, I can understand them. But no matter how I think about it, there is one thing I cannot comprehend. Why do your eyes make me feel so unfamiliar? Are you really Leon? Leon, I was still half doubting before, but after seeing your eyes just now, I am certain. Can you marry a stranger? I cannot. After hearing Dorothea describe the entire process, Yves's face turns pale. Then the two argued for quite a while. His Highness stood there for nearly an hour. As soon as Dorothea finishes speaking, Yves rushes out frantically. Your Highness Leon, where are you at this moment? Here, the previous life Leon appears again. What are you doing now? How long do you plan to rest? Do you think only training matters? The Visconti rebellion must be investigated. Beatrice must also be investigated. Before he can finish, Leon interrupts. I told you before, you are not me. I handle my own affairs. But does Liz think the same way? Saying this, Leon begins shouting loudly. What am I doing?